Come on, come in. Welcome.
Hello and greetings, everyone. Why does the light look really weird on this camera? Maybe that makes it a little warmer. How's it going, everyone? Welcome. We got pipe smokers here, people just waking up. Good evening, good afternoon, good night. Welcome, everyone. Apparently we got a good chapter today. Yeah, on the audiobook. I gotta see how long it was on the audiobook. Let's see. Andy Serkis reads it in an hour and 6 minutes. No, that's book 6. He reads it in an hour and 7 minutes. And the last chapter was an hour and 37. So we might have like a 3-hour stream. That's what I'm guessing. I'm excited for this chapter because I have no idea about it. I was asking, I asked people in our Discord, I was like, what, can you guys give me not a summary, but like, tell me a smidge of what this chapter is about? Because I didn't know what to make a thumbnail for. And someone was like, okay, I'll tell you whose perspective it is. Someone was like, Aragorn. And I was like, okay, that's all I need to know. That's all I want. And I made a thumbnail with Aragorn. I don't know if it's the right moment. I don't know anything. I don't know who the Grey Company is. But we're going to figure out. I don't know if it's the passing of the Grey Company, like they're dead, or like they're just passing by. I don't know who this Grey Company is going to be. It's going to be fun. You may think the Gimli moment you love is coming up as you read the chapter of Essentials, chapter 9. So there's a good Gimli moment in this chapter? Okay, I'm excited. I picked a good thumbnail. They're passing a kidney stone. The passing of the Grey Company. Kidney stones. That is wild. All right, everyone, here's how we'll open up discussion today. Tell me a good book that you've read. What's the last good book that you've read? Tell me the last, and it can't be Lord of the Rings. But doesn't that still mean there's a good Gimli moment in this chapter? If there's a good Gimli moment in this chapter and in chapter 9, I need more good Gimli moments. Yeah, Much Ado About Nothing is great. That's a great play. Spinning Silver, Naomi Novik, Children of Memory. The We Free Men, that's a great title for a book. The We Free Men. Some Stephen King. What do you guys think about Stephen King? I heard he's, entertaining storyteller, not the greatest writer, but I think he's a adept writer, an able writer. Maybe that's the better word. I know you missed Appendix E. How could you guys miss Appendix E? The pronunciations. That was actually so fun. I had so much fun doing that. Dragon Teeth, Sea People. Ooh, Polynesian history. That kind of sounds fun. Hunting Tower? John Buchanan. Interesting. Stephen King is fine. I feel like if you publish that many books, you're gonna have a lot of duds. Or not a lot of duds, but you're gonna have some duds. I think maybe this is a controversial opinion. I think there's some Shakespeare duds. I think he wrote some plays that were not good. Is that a controversial opinion? Some of them are the greatest works of literature ever. Some of them are duds. Piranesi. Ooh. I've heard that's pretty good. Yeah, Shakespeare probably would admit his own duds. Not controversial? Okay, phew. I'm sure I wonder what he would say today about some of his duds. Also, last chapter I was talking about Beargill, and I forgot a comment said it. I forgot who said it. Michael, maybe you said it. That Tolkien planned a sequel book with Beargill as the main character. That would be so cool. And it's like an unfinished, but there's still some manuscript around or something. I really would love to read that. Oh, imagine how good of a book that would be. Oh man, there's so many good bits of Middle Earth. I wish you wrote more. Also, everyone, like the stream. Make sure the stream gets out to more people. I'm only gonna say it a few times, not to annoy everyone. The New Shadow. He scrapped it. He scrapped the sequel because he didn't want to write a thriller. A draft of a first chapter. Still excited. I want to read that. Interesting. You thought a sequel would be pointless. Would you guys agree or disagree? I feel like a sequel wouldn't be pointless. Maybe here's a question. How much mass popularity did Lord of the Rings gain while he was still alive? It had to have gained a pretty good amount, right? I know I barely touched the Legendarium, but I want more. The people of Middle Earth, interesting. So it was huge even when he was still alive. Because I was going to say, I wonder if he knew how much of a mass appeal there was, and like whatever he wrote, I'm sure people would have soaked it up and loved it. He didn't want to make the quest ultimately useless. Interesting. I'm curious what it would be about. Don't spoil anything. Tolkien had some good interviews. Interesting. The unauthorized East edition? What is that? That's kind of cool that he knew how big it was. Sometimes I really like when artists really, not like, sometimes it like strokes their ego and they think they're too big for their britches. But it's like sad, like Vincent van Gogh never really realized how good he knew how good he was, but he never really realized how famous he was going to become. Like everyone knows the name of Vincent van Gogh. And during his lifetime, I think his brother sold 2 paintings, and that's all. It's a tragic life. And I haven't seen any Doctor Who. Yeah, I haven't seen any Doctor Who, but I know that one episode where they like time travel Vincent van Gogh to like a gallery and his paintings are on a wall. It's a really cool moment. I feel like if no one watches Doctor Who, everyone has at least seen that one scene on YouTube somewhere. Vincent and the Doctor, yeah. Yeah, it's a cute one. I gotta read some Doctor Who, but I haven't read that one. Tolkien called his rabbit-obsessed fans his deplorable cultists. Did he actually... What did he think of them? Did he like people who liked his books, or was he kind of annoyed? That one kind of sounds like he didn't like the people that were liking his books. Was Tolkien a curmudgeon? Oh, and I heard, didn't he like write back to not everyone, but didn't he try to write back to everyone? Because doesn't like Stephen Colbert have a letter of his that he had written back, or someone who has a letter written? Christopher Lee, doesn't he have a letter? Christopher Lee has a letter, I think. Yeah, that's insane that he's like that famous and he's still answering fan mail that consistently. That's so cool. Does anybody... Okay, here's a question. Does anybody in their collection or in their library have any like letter that they have from Tolkien or Lewis or any author? I have a fun story about that still I regret. Anybody have any like cool letters? One time I used to live in the South. I used to live in Dallas, and there was a really good bookstore there called Half Price Books. Anybody know Half Price Books? Great bookstore. It's kind of there's a few different spots in America that there's Half Price Books. It's like the greatest bookstore ever. Just a bunch of used books, but it's like a massive thing. And I was there, and they had a rare and like signed books section. And I was like, oh, no way. I just want to like go peruse and see what they have. So I was looking at a few different books and I was like, oh, this is really cool. Oh, Half Price Books is the best. And I found one that was a Maya Angelou book. And I was like, no way. That is so cool. So I opened it, and Maya Angelou had gotten something wrong in her signature. She wrote like a long note in this book. And she said to so and so to this person, and then she crossed out the name and she goes, "Oh, I am so sorry, I got your name wrong. To you, may like," and she put like a fun little note at the end, and I was like, "That is so cool." And did her signature, and I was like, "That is incredible." I was like, "I kind of want this." It was $50 at the moment, and I was like, I was like, I can't justify spending $50 on this, but this is really cool. And I put the book back down on the shelf. I went back to my apartment, and literally the next morning, she passed away. And I was like, I have to go back immediately. And so I go back to that immediately, and the book was gone. And I don't have that book. And it was, what timing is that? It was ridiculous. It was crazy. So I could have had a signed Maya Angelou book. I'm sure the price went up exponentially. I'm sure actually Half Price Books probably took that book off the shelf and they just like kept it. I'm sure no one just bought it. Maybe someone just bought it. Maybe someone was smarter than me, and they, as soon as they knew, they sprinted over there. Ah, Leaf by Niggle at Half Price Books. I love that. Wait, is there someone's having a problem? Hold down T. Hold down the T. He had his secretary write some. What is that? What is that sign? What is that that signal that you guys are doing? I wanted it for myself. I'm not like a big book collector, but I think it still would be kind of fun to have like cool books like that. I don't think I have like one. Do I have any? I don't have any signed books. What's the coolest book I have? That's a good question. I have this isn't cool. Everyone has this, but a Mina Lima Harry Potter edition. Those are cool. Those are expensive though. I don't really think I have any cool books, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't have any cool books. Anybody? What's the coolest book that you guys have? Also, we're gonna start the read in. We'll start it in 10 minutes. We always come and just chill here. I love how everyone's just like excited and they're learning how to do thorns on their keyboard now. I love this. I love this chat. What else is going on? Jemima Caitlin illustrated edition of The Hobbit. Ooh, that just sounds cool. I gotta look that up. 2 leather-bound special edition Stormlight Archive 10-year anniversary books by Brandon Sanderson. That sounds phenomenal. I want to know what they look like. I want to know what all these look like. Oh, Dane doing field work. Also, welcome. Let's pop in some headphones and enjoy my reactions and my read. Oh, that was the one that you posted pictures in the Discord of. Okay, I know that one then. I know that one. I remember that. There's some sweet additions. Oh, Quenya on the page edges. That is beautiful. I gotta change to live because I'm missing some messages. There we go. Now we're good. A 50-year anniversary of Lord of the Rings in 1 volume. Ooh, in a box, leather bound. Gilt edges. Wow. You know what? I find that the 50th anniversary with Alan Lee's illustration, I really want that. It's really beautiful, but I don't have it. And I always thought that was like a nice looking book. I don't know if I have any like really cool books now. I'm trying to think through. I don't think I do. I have double copies of a lot of books because is anybody neurotic like me or like nuts like me? Sometimes I don't like lending out, or I love lending out books, but I don't like lending out really books that I really love that I only have one copy of because I'm like, yeah, I never know when I'm going to get that book back and I still might really want it. Like that never happens in reality. But I'll, if like I really love a book, like I probably have like a top 10 list. And in that top 10 list, I have double of that book's copy for pretty much 5 or 6 of them because I lend those books out and I don't want, I still want that book near in proximity to me. Am I out of my mind? Blink twice if I need help. Yeah, because exactly, Daniel. You lend out books and all of a sudden you realize 10 years later, you're like, they never gave me that book back. That's really what happens. And I don't actually need the books in my hand, but you know, it's always nice to have a good book nearby. Ooh, Illustrated Hobbit in the Discord. I'm gonna go look. Ooh, love the illustration. Love little Bilbo just chilling on a tree right there. The vines coming down. The little deer. Wow, that is beautiful. People make such beautiful books. Ah. Like I really love practical books like these because they're just cheap and you can kind of beat them up and you don't have to feel guilty about it. And I could write in them all over the place. But there's nothing quite like a really beautifully created book. Like something that took a lot of time and effort. One of my favorite things. One of my favorite things in the world. You have your name and address and stickers. I love that. I know. I whenever I go to like library book sales, there's always those books that have like stickers in them for some reason. I guess people donate them and they just don't take the stickers out because I see those all the time. Oh, Nerdforge. Yeah, Nerdforge's covers for those books are so great. I didn't know they did a cover for Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter actually. I know they did a cover for Brandon Sanderson. I didn't know they did it for those other two. I gotta check them out. I would actually love to see that. Yeah, they do such fun bookbinding stuff. I like that they did the Wheel of Time in that one huge book. And then they did Brandon Sanderson's. What did they do Brandon Sanderson's? Did they do all of the Stormlight Archive in that massive bound book? Yeah, they do some great content. They're so fun. They're like a fun watch. I recently discovered them. I mean, like they're some of the most popular people on YouTube, but I recently discovered them because I'm late, I guess, on trends on YouTube, and they have some great stuff. Just painted the size of the Lord of the Rings. I like people that do that, where they clamp a book shut and they like paint the scene on it right here. Ah, that's so nice sometimes. And so sometimes they display the books that way. They display the books on their bookshelf like that rather than spine. Just something about that feels right. I kind of love that. Ooh, welcome, Lemmy. Yeah, I caught before the reading. We're just chilling and chatting. We're going to start in 5 more minutes. You saw Nerdforge on Facebook. Interesting. Yeah, they're huge on YouTube. She and her husband. Husband? Boyfriend? Partner? They're huge. They do such good stuff. I just watched the video like last week, 2 weeks ago, where she went to some place in Italy and like did a painting like block, and she just documented it. She's just an entertaining YouTuber. She's like I have to say, sometimes I don't like YouTubers who are just like very high energy like that. Like I need someone chill and just like don't be like a typical YouTuber. But she's one person that seems like a very typical YouTuber, but that I still love their content because she's so creative. I love any makers. Like makers are some of my favorite people on YouTube. Like I love Simone Yertz, or Yetch. I think that's how you pronounce her name. She's one of my favorites. Adam Savage, so good. What are some of you guys' favorite YouTubers? Give me a list. Besides me, of course. Just kidding. Who are some of your guys' favorite YouTubers? Give me some good YouTube channels. You know who one of my favorites is, but very, very different. Besides, again, like typical YouTubers, like I can't watch like any of like the really, really popular YouTubers. Donkey is great. Nerd of the Rings, okay. Malcolm Geit, love that kind of stuff. Veritaserum, another great. First timers, of course. Matt's Off-Road Recovery, interesting. Joel Haver, never heard. Daniel B. Green does do good book reviews, agreed. Stephen He, never heard. Dry Creek Wrangler School, have heard, great stuff. For crafting, Evelyn and Caitlin, Nerd Forge Studio, Crossing Crafts, North of the Border. I've heard of North of the Border and Nerd Forge. Haven't heard of the other ones, but I will check them out. Some people do crazy cool stuff. Proco, The Stitchery. Never heard some of these. You know what one of my favorites is right now? So I think my YouTube, I need my algorithm right now is giving me, let me just check. Check what comes up in recommendations. It is, I have Myth Mavens, Tolkien Rants. Malcolm Geit is on there. I have a guy called Aussie Drongo because I play a video game with my brother. Emmy's on here. Patrick McDonald, never watched the video of his. I have a lot of Game Changer clips on mine because I really love watching random clips of Game Changer. Some Dimension 20. Adam Savage. One of my favorite YouTubers as well, but he only comes out with a video a week, is I never know how to pronounce his name. It's Dutch. Ugh. Oop, there goes my camera. As soon as I figure out this guy's name, because I want to try to pronounce it correctly. And maybe one of you guys knows who this person is. He's a Dutch guy who lives in an Italian cottage, and he's just fixing that up. Game Changer is so good. Cinema Therapy, Jess of the Shire, Emmy, Felix Colgrove. Mark Rober is kind of great. His Squirrel Maze stuff is so good. I love all this. I'm going to reread all this later and then just go on YouTube. Rants? What do they call YouTube rabbit holes? Martin. I don't know how to spell his last name. Martin. M-A-R-T-I-J-N. Here, I'll show you. This guy. He's good. His videos are very uncensored because he just does long shots. But one of my guilty pleasures on YouTube is watching people fix stuff up, like houses. That's one of my goals. So I have 2 other YouTube goals that I'm gonna start soon. One of them I'm gonna start soon. The other one I need a house. Sanderson Discord, okay. Oh, those are stunning. Oh, everyone look at these. Hold on. I'm gonna show you 2 more books. Nope, that was my OBS. Whoops, create an infinite loop in my OBS. Everyone watch this infinite loop, ready? No, we can't do that. Stunning. I love books like this. Just like good, it's a great font choice. What font is that? I know what font that is, but I can't remember. Beautiful. And look at this. Look at this little beauty. I want to buy a house that is like a beater, and fix it up and do a YouTube channel where I just fix it up. Because I don't really talk about this all that much, but I am kind of like handy, and that's what I do for a living. I'm a GC, starting a small little business as a GC handyman. You didn't miss anything. I am just chilling and we're chatting. I said we'll start in 5 minutes. I said that 8 minutes ago. We'll start in 2 minutes. We'll start right at 11. But the 2 YouTube channels that I want to do more are, I want to do a cooking YouTube channel because I love cooking. And then I also want to do a channel where I just fix up a house real slow, and that's the channel. There's a house that was kind of near me in this area that was like this old colonial house. Let me just rant on this for like a few seconds, and then we'll start the live read. Also, everyone like the stream so that we can get more Tolkien nerds watching this. There was a house in Poughkeepsie, New York, which is like an hour and 30 minutes north of me. It's kind of like a little podunk town. But there was this house that was this old Victorian house, and it was like no joke. It was like a 20-room house. Old. It probably needed a ridiculous amount of work, like $500,000. But I almost bought that, and I was almost going to do that. And then I was going to just fix it up and make a YouTube channel about me fixing it up. But didn't get it. Someone outbid me. Bummer. I said, let me rant, and then an ad came up. Let me rant. Sponsored by, my rant is sponsored by whatever that ad was. Yeah, I mean, every Fix Up channel does that, which is neurotic. But I will say, like out of the GCs and like Handyman and people like that, probably 80% of them are just benevolent and kind, and they just like to give recommendations. And 20% are the annoying kind, which is probably true in like every little profession. But it's fun because when I watch videos of other people, the comments are like from 60-year professionals who've been in like that industry for a long time, and they know all the little tips and tricks. So it's kind of fun because you learn a ton if you start one of those channels. But it is just everyone that complains that you're doing it wrong and that they can do it better. Potato cooking channel. I would love that. Ahmed attorneys. Interesting. Yes. Now for a chapter. All right, we're gonna start this little live read. Wait, why is my Discord there we go. Ooh, one more channel. I do cars. He tears down a blown up engine. That's actually crazy. Honestly, I would love cooking some of the Hobbit recipes. Eowyn's in this chapter. All right, I gotta start reading. Otherwise, we're gonna be here for hours. All right, so we're gonna do. This is the passing of the Grey Company. This is gonna be probably like a 2-hour live read, but it's gonna be fun. It's a long chapter again, just like the other one. This is a really long chapter. But it's gonna be fun. I love long chapters. So here we go. The Grey Company. This is, sorry, my YouTube here is delayed, and I just fix that so I don't get distracted. Anyway, everyone, remember last thing before I start, like the stream, share it. Even if you just share it and throw it in the Discord, so I don't know, maybe YouTube will get, I don't know. The algorithm will algorithm more. Here's chapter 2. I unfortunately I do know how to pronounce everyone's name, and I'm gonna mispronounce everyone's name. I'm not gonna get any names right. I need to study that chapter, that appendix. But this is chapter 2, the passing of the Grey Company. Gandalf was gone, and the thudding hooves of Shadowfax were lost in the night. When Merry came back to Aragorn. Why am I so disoriented right now? So did Gandalf leave Minas Tirith and go all the way back to where... No. Oh, we went back in time. Okay. Whew. Okay, flashback. I was going to say, because Shadowfax was still in Gondor. All right, flashback. Okay, I don't mind a flashback. Here we go. Gandalf was gone, and the thudding hooves of Shadowfax were lost in the night. When Merry came back to Aragorn, he had only a light bundle, for he had lost his pack at Parth Galen, and all he had was a few useful things he had picked up among the wreckage of Isengard. Hasufel was already saddled. Legolas and Gimli, with their horse, stood close by. So 4 of the company still remain, said Aragorn. We will ride on together, but we shall not go alone, as I thought. The king is now determined to set out at once. Since the coming of the winged shadow, he desires to return to the hills under cover of night. And then whither? Said Legolas. I cannot say yet, Aragorn answered. As for the king, he will go to the muster that he commanded at Edoras 4 nights from now. As for the king, he will go to the muster that he commanded at Edoras 4 nights from now. And there, I think, he will hear tidings of war. And the riders of Rohan will go down to Minas Tirith. But for myself, and any that go with me, I for one, cried Legolas, and Gimli with him, said the dwarf. They're so cute, the 3 hunters. I love that. Great little trio. Well, for myself, said Aragorn, it is dark before me. I must go down also to Minas Tirith, but I do not yet see the road. An hour long prepared approaches. Is the Grey Company going to be the Green Men, but they're gray in the book? Maybe not. Probably not. Probably something else. Maybe they're going through like a little city that they are in? I don't know. Do not leave me behind, said Merry. I have not been of much use yet, but I don't want to be laid aside, like baggage to be called for when all is over. I don't think the riders will want to be bothered with me now. Though, of course, the king did say that I was to sit by him when he came to his house and tell him all about the Shire. That's cute. Yes, said Aragorn. And your road lies with him, I think, Merry. But do not look for mirth at the ending. It will be long, I fear, ere Theoden sits at ease again, and Meduseld. That's Edoras, I'm guessing? Meduseld? Why does he call it Meduseld? Is it the first word we ever learned? Meduseld. Meduseld is the palace. Okay, so it's the castle. Okay, gotcha. The Golden Hall. Thank you. Many hopes will wither in this bitter spring. Oh, that's a cheerful note. So I haven't published this essay yet because I need to, after I finish this live reading, I got to go work for a little bit and then I got to record this essay. But the last thing that I was going to talk about in the last chapter was how Tolkien is really good at messing with your emotions, because, and this is like another note of that, it feels like characters are almost like not necessarily losing hope, but they're like preparing for like a long winter. Many hopes will wither in this bitter spring, because in the last chapter, the chapter ends with this line where he says, Gandalf goes, "The darkness has begun, there will be no dawn." And yes, he's talking literally, but it also has to be metaphorical. And so Tolkien does a really good job in the previous chapter of making your emotions go all over the place. And toward the end of the chapter, when when Baragon and Pippin are talking and they're like, they have their hope renewed. And then Pippin says, he looks in the eyes of Baragon and it looks like he's ready for war. And like a light comes into his eyes. And then Pippin goes off and hangs out with Baragol. And they see all these armies pour through the city. And they're not huge armies. Like there was 3,000 men all in total. But it was still encouraging. And it still gave you a little bit of hope. As a reader, I think you're sitting there and you're reading this and you're like, okay, this is at least better than Helm's Deep. They might have a fighting chance. And then the end of that chapter is like Tolkien destroys all your hope. And he goes, the darkness has begun. There will be no dawn. And yes, it is like just talking about like actual light. But it is 100% a metaphor here. Where Tolkien is like, I'm going to raise your hope a little bit and then keep shattering it along the way. And there's going to be times when you're like, you feel a little bit more hopeful. And then he just keeps on making it more and more bleak. So I think I'm kind of a fan of his writing. If you hadn't already learned that or couldn't tell. I like this guy Tolkien. I think he's a pretty good writer. Yeah, it's like all this dashed hope. I'm kind of a fan. I'm a young fan of Tolkien. Soon all were ready to depart. 24 horses, with Gimli behind Legolas, and Merry in front of Aragorn. Presently they were riding swiftly through the night. They had not long passed the mountains at the ford of Isen when a rider galloped up from the rear of their line. Yeah. Gandalf died. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, when you're reading this for the first time, you don't know really if it's going to be a happy ending or not. Like, again, I even know the ending of the story, and I couldn't help in the last chapter but feel like, do I really know the ending of the story? Is Frodo not going to succeed? Because sometimes it feels like that. And if I know the ending of the story and I still am doubting that, it just is a credit to his writing style and how good of a storyteller he actually is. All right, let's keep going. My lord, he said to the king, there are horsemen behind us. As we crossed the fords, I thought that I heard them. Now we are sure. They are overtaking us, riding hard. Théoden at once called a halt. The riders turned about and seized their spears. Aragorn dismounted and set Merry up on the ground. Hold on, time out. Let me get something straight. Because I kind of forgot about this part. Hold on, I'm going to need your guys' help for a second. So Théoden he didn't bring his whole army, but he brought a good portion of people out to Isengard. Why are there only 24 horses coming back? Is that the only 2 people that he brought? Sorry, I know I'm getting really distracted right now. So he brought his escort. So he's coming back with his escort. I know Merry is riding with Aragorn, but so this is just how many he brought. Okay, that's good to know. Because I thought he had brought more. I thought there were more people. But it was only about 30. 30-ish. Okay, that's good to know. All right, perfect. That helps. Okay, here we go. Let's keep reading. Sorry, getting very distracted. But that's what these are for. They're just me getting distracted talking about all these things. You're not coming here for a scintillating read. Okay. Théoden at once called a halt. The riders turned about and seized their spears. Aragorn dismounted and set Merry on the ground, and drawing his sword, he stood by the king's stirrup. Éomer and his esquire, who's his esquire, rode back to the rear. Merry felt more like unneeded baggage than ever, and he wondered if there was a fight, what he should do. Supposing the king's small escort was trapped and overcome, but he escaped into the darkness, alone in the wild fields of Rohan with no idea of where he was in all the endless miles. No good, he thought. He drew his sword and tightened his belt. Wow. He's becoming a little man. The sinking moon was obscured by a great sailing cloud, but suddenly it rode out clear again. Then they all heard the sound of hooves. And at the same moment, they saw dark shapes coming swiftly on the path from the fords. The moonlight glinted here and there on the points of the spear. The number of pursuers could not be told, but they seemed no fewer than the king's escort at the least. When they were some 50 paces off, Eomer cried in a loud voice, "Halt! Halt! Who rides in Rohan?" The pursuers brought their steeds to a sudden stand. A silence followed. And then, in the moonlight, a horseman could be seen dismounting and walking slowly forward. His hand showed white as he held it up, palm outward. A token of peace, but the king's men gripped their weapons. At 10 paces, the man stopped. He was tall. A dark standing shadow. Then his voice rang out. "Rohan. Rohan, did you say? That is a glad word. We seek that land in haste from long afar." This is like a creepy section. Like, I feel like you don't really know who this is. This is kind of like, this could be some bad news. And I don't know. "You have found it," said Eomer. "When you crossed the fords yonder, you entered it. But it is the realm of Theoden the king. None ride here save by his leave. Who are you, and what is your haste?" "Halbarad." Oh! No way! "Halbarad, Dunedan, Ranger of the North I am," cried the man. "We seek one Aragorn, son of Arathorn." No way! Dude, you're not telling me that there are rangers from the north who are coming to fight. This is the company that I want to be with. Oh my gosh. That is so cool. I'm like giddy. That is so cool. So there are rangers from the north. What did I say? Like 50 of these rangers? Or like 25? Because I think it said altogether there are 50. This is so cool. 30. Okay, love that. Dunedan. Hold on. Dunedan, is Dunedan singular for Dunedain? Maybe I need to read and find out. Yeah, the Rangers are like the coolest. This is so cool. Halbarad. Dunedan singular, Dunedain plural. Okay. Dunedan, man of the west? Interesting. I thought it would be like man of the north. But man of the west being meaning Numenor, I'm guessing? Dunedan, man of the west. That's literal translation. That's cool. From Numenor. This is, dude. This is like, this feels like the Marines, like the Navy SEALs coming up. Like, this is like the greatest of the greatest. I don't care if they're old. These guys are who I want fighting on my side. Dunedan, some dude named Dan who lives in the dunes. He lives in the. It's about the Dune novels. These guys are like the Harkonnens. I'm not even kidding. I was thinking about that before. If I could pick if I could pick any 50 fighters to have on my side, I might pick Rangers from the North. Maybe I'm going to learn that they suck and that they're terrible. But I don't know. There's just something about people from the North, like Rangers from the North. Or I would honestly give me 50 dwarves from from Moria. I don't know. They could be evil. Yeah, I'm actually a little nervous that they are evil. Maybe they've been turned by the whites or something like that. All right, let's keep reading. Read and find out. That is so cool. Okay, hold on. I need to write an essay on this. Rangers from the north. That is so cool. That makes me giddy. Okay. And I love that they go, we seek one Aragorn, son of Arathorn, and we have heard that he was in Rohan. And you have also found him. Or you have found him also, cried Aragorn, giving his reins to Merry. He ran forward and embraced the newcomer. Halbarad, he said, of all joys, this is least expected. This is beautiful. Merry breathed a sigh of relief. He had thought that this was some last trick of Saruman's to waylay the king while he had only a few men about him. But it seemed that there would be no need to die in Theoden's defense. Not yet, at any rate. Aw. He sheathed his sword. This is even like a cool little moment too. Both of these. I love that Aragorn goes up and hugs him. Shows his affection. And then Merry going, I don't have to die today. He was like ready to die for Theoden. Wow. I already love this section. I already love this chapter. And I'm a page in. It's a good one, guys. All is well, said Aragorn, turning back. Here are some of my own kin, from the far land where I dwelt. But why they came, and how many they be, Halbarad shall tell us. I have 30 with me, said Halbarad. That is all of our kindred that could be gathered in haste. But the brethren, Eladan and Elrohir, have ridden with us, desiring to go to war. Wait, these are Arwen's brothers? Didn't we meet them right outside of Rivendell when he was going to get information? No way! Why aren't they in the movie? Come on, these guys could have been so cool. Why would they cut this? This is like, oh, this would be so cool. They could have inserted this anywhere in the third movie, and it would have been so cool. I love it. So these are twin brothers. Ah, man. So 3 representatives of the elven race who have joined the war. Interesting. They kind of do have Riz. They feel like they got Riz. We rode as swiftly as we might when your summons came. There are a lot of characters, but I guess because the pacing of the book is different, you just know these characters so well. Like every side character that pops up, Tolkien does such a good job of like fleshing them out in such a short amount of time. Let's see if he does that with Halbarad. All right, let's keep reading. But I did not summon you, said Aragorn, save only in wish. My thoughts have often turned to you, and seldom more than tonight. Yet I have sent no word. But come, all such matters must wait. You find us riding in haste and danger. Ride with us now, if the king will give his leave. Theoden was indeed glad of the news. It is well, he said. If these kinsmen be in any way like to yourself, my lord Aragorn, 30 such knights will be a strength that cannot be counted by heads. Darn right. This is so cool. Then the riders set out again, and Aragorn for a while rode with the Dunedain. And when they had spoken of tidings in the north and in the south, Elrohir said to him, I bring word to you from my father. The days are short, if thou art in haste. Remember the paths of the dead. Ooh. Hold on. This isn't the first that we're hearing of this, right? Gandalf tells him to follow a different road into Minas Tirith. So I guess this is like the second indication that we're getting that he needs to follow a different road. Remember the paths of the dead. I keep thinking how fun this would be to read had I not known the movies. I still love that I know the movies. But gosh, this would be so fun. The paths of the dead, I'd be losing my mind going, what the heck is he talking about? That must have been so fun. I'm so jealous of some of you. Although I'm not at the same time, because I still love, because I think, and I said this before, but I'm actually kind of grateful that I saw the movies first, but not at the same time, because the movies haven't been spoiled for me. I know this book is one of the greatest books ever written. Probably in my mind, it might be my favorite right now, and I haven't even finished it. But I still love the movie because I grew up in the movie. And so now that I get to read the book, I get to like doubly enjoy them. If you read the book first and then you go to the movie, you're just like, come on, they left so much out. Now I get to do that in like a joyful way. Yeah, they really are so different. And I'm shocked how different they really are. They like, there's, so good. And someone was saying, everyone is kind of saying that Peter Jackson just made like his fan film for it, and that kind of puts it at ease. So good. All right, let's keep reading. Always my days have seemed to me too short to achieve my desire, answered Aragorn. But great indeed will be my haste ere I take that road. That will soon be seen, said Elrohir here. But let us speak no more of these things upon the open road. And Aragorn said to Halbarad, what is that you bear, kinsman? For he saw that instead of a spear he bore a tall staff, as it were a standard, but it was close furled in a black cloth, bound about with many thongs. It is a gift that I bring you from the Lady of Rivendell, answered Halbarad. She wrought it in secret, and long was the marking, but she also sends word to you. The days now are short. Either our hope cometh, or all hope ends. Therefore I send thee what I have made for thee. Farewell, Elfstone. This is so cute. I don't know what it is. I'm curious what it is. And Aragorn said, now I know what you bear. Bear it still for me for a while. No, open it there. Do an unboxing for me, Aragorn. And he turned and looked away to the north, under the great stars. And then he fell silent and spoke no more, while the night's journey lasted. This is so cute. Okay, hold on 1 second. So she says, she also sends word, the days now are short. She could be talking literally, the days are short. In that, like, there's no dawn or dusk because of the cloud coverage. Potentially. But then she says, either our hope cometh or all hope ends. That almost sounds like you need to become king or everything is going to be over. Therefore I send thee what I have made for thee. Farewell Elfstone? Does Aragorn... Oh, so I feel like I remember this. Does Aragorn mean Elfstone? Or Elisar mean Elfstone? Elisar means Elfstone, right? She's saying now or never. Yeah, honestly, this is an ultimatum. This is the ultimatum. She's like, Aragorn, you take this and you get me, or, farewell. Hold on, does he has the necklace, right? Does he already have that? He doesn't. Okay, so he does? I don't remember it that clearly. No. Galadriel gave it to him. Yeah. Galadriel gave it to him. Okay, so Galadriel, does he have the necklace on him? So Galadriel gives it to him. So I don't know what this is. This is a big staff. Is it like the king's staff? A sheath for his sword? He already has a sheath for his sword. Huh. I don't know what this is. No. I was going to say, is it like a way to tame the Green Army? Again, they only call them the Green Army. I don't know what they're called. The Army of the Dead, maybe? Huh. I don't know. No spoilers. All right, let's keep reading. As if it were a standard, but it was close furled in a black cloth, bound with many thongs. So it's furled. Is this going to be like... So is this going to be like the king's like sigil? Like, are they going to ride behind Aragorn with this thing and it's going to be like the coronation of the king? Maybe. That's my best guess. All right, let's keep reading. The night was old and the east gray when they rode up at last from the deeping combe and came back to the Hornburg. There they were lie to rest. Or they were to lie and rest for a brief while and take counsel. Merry slept until he was roused by Legolas and Gimli. The sun is high, said Legolas. All others are up and doing. Come, Master Sluggard. Look at this place while you may. Oh, they're going to go check out oh, no way. They're going to go check out the caves, aren't they? Yes, they're back. And Gimli gets to show them off. There was a battle here 3 nights ago, said Gimli. And here Legolas and I played a game that I won only by a single orc. Come and see how it was. And there are caves, Merry. Caves of wonder. Shall we visit them, Legolas? Do you think? Ah, no, nay, there is no time, said the elf. Do not spoil the wonder with haste. Ah, that's actually kind of beautiful. I was going to say, because the next line he says, I have given you my word to return hither with you, if a day of peace and freedom comes again. But it is now near to noon. At that hour we eat, and then we sat out again, I hear. That, I was going to say, it feels like this is a friendly thing to be like, Gimli, I told you I'm going to come back on a journey with you. I don't want to see them now. Legolas is like, because I want to come back on a friend journey with you. I want to have a boys trip with you. This is kind of cute. Merry got up and yawned. His few hours' sleep had not been nearly enough. He was tired and rather dismal. He missed Pippin and felt that he was only a burden, while everybody was making plans for speed in a business that he did not fully understand. Where is Aragorn? He asked. In a high chamber of the burg, said Legolas. He has neither rested nor slept, I think. He went thither some hours ago, saying that he must take thought, and only his kinsman, Halbarad, went with him. But some dark doubt or care sits on him. Huh. I'm guessing he's either nervous about becoming king or taking the dead road. Taking the paths of the dead. They are a strange company, these newcomers, said Gimli. Stout men, and lordly they are, and the riders of Rohan look almost as boys beside them, for they are grim men of face, worn like weathered rocks, for the most part, even as Aragorn himself, and they are silent. But even as Aragorn they are courteous, if they break their silence, said Legolas. Now have you marked their brethren, Eladon and Elrohir? Less somber is their gear than the others, and they are fair and gallant as elven lords. And that is not to be wondered at in the sons of Elrond of Rivendell. Why have they come? Have you heard? Asked Merry. He had now dressed, and he flung his grey cloak about his shoulders, and the three passed out together toward the ruined gate of the burg. They answered a summons, as you have heard, said Gimli. Word came to Rivendell, they say. Aragorn has need of his kindred. Let the Dunedain ride to him in Rohan. But whence this message came, they are now in doubt. Gandalf sent it, I would guess. Aragorn has need of his kindred. Let the Dunedain ride to him in the north. Oh. Huh. Nay, Galadriel, said Legolas. Did she not speak through Gandalf of the ride of the Grey Company from the north? Wait, did they mention have they mentioned the Grey Company anywhere else in the book? Galadriel sent a poem. Interesting. Well, where was Galadriel's message again? The White Rider, when Gandalf comes back. Interesting. Oh, that was such a good moment. I should have included that in the video this morning. That was one of my favorite moments, actually. One of the funniest moments when Gimli was like, and no word has come to me. and Gandalf was like, I totally forgot. Here's the message that she gives to you. And then Gimli gets the message and he's like, let's go. We're going. That was so funny. That was one of the greatest moments in the book. Oh, so in that message, hold on. I have to just go. I'm going to grab my book and go check that out again. Sorry, Wes. The White Rider chapter? Sorry, I have to I want to see what this says again. Wow, that was early. Sheesh. Mithrandir. They talk of the story. They keep talking. Oh, here we go. Okay. Where now are the Dunedain, Elisar? Why do thy kinsfolk wander afar? Near is the hour when the lost should come forth, and the Grey Company ride from the north. Dang it, it was right there in front of my eyes the whole time. But dark is the path appointed for thee. The dead watch the road that leads to the sea. Dang, we're in deep. Okay, let's keep reading. This is so good. This is such a cool part. I'm kind of bummed that they didn't have this in the movie in any way. There's such like an aura about these people. Okay. Where did I leave off? They answered a summons, as you heard, said Gimli. Word came to Rivendell, they say. Aragorn has need of his kindred. Let the Dunedain ride to him in Rohan. But whence this message came, they are now in doubt. Gandalf sent it, I would guess. Nay, Galadriel, said Legolas. Did she not speak through Gandalf of the ride of the Grey Company from the north? So Legolas remembers that, okay. Yes, you have it, said Gimli. The Lady of the Wood. She read many hearts and desires. Now why did not we wish for some of our own kinsfolk, Legolas? Legolas stood before the gate and turned his bright eyes away north and east, and his fair face was troubled. I do not think that any would come, he answered. They have no need to ride to war. War already marches on their own lands. For a while, the three companions walked together, speaking of this and that turn of the battle. And they went down from the broken gate and past the mounds of the fallen on the green sward beside the road, until they stood on the Helm's Dyke and looked into the Coombe. The Death Down already stood there, black and tall and stony, and the great trampling and scoring of the grass by the Huorns could be plainly seen. The Dunlendings, and many men of the garrison of the burg were at the work on the dike or in the fields and about the battered walls behind. It all seemed strangely quiet, a weary valley resting after a great storm. Soon they turned back and went to the midday meal in the hall of the burg. The king was already there, and as soon as they entered, he called for Merry, and had a seat set for him at his side. It is not as I would have had it, said Theoden, for this is little like my fair house in Edoras, and your friend is gone, who should also be here. But it may be long ere we sit, you and I, at the high table in Meduseld. There will be no time for feasting when I return hither. But come now, eat and drink, and let us speak together while we may. And then you shall ride with me. May I? Said Merry, surprised and delighted. That would be splendid. He had never felt more grateful for any kindness in words. I am afraid I am only in everybody's way, he stammered. But I should like to do anything I could, you know. Theoden is so great. Theoden is so kind. This is such an interesting contrast with Denethor and with how Pippin is dealing with Denethor. And it's interesting because I feel like there's a comparison between the meals that they had. Merry could have a meal with Theoden and probably after this meal be rejuvenated and feel energized and feel great. Pippin has a meeting with Denethor and all he wants to do is leave and go eat a meal because he's exhausted. And I love that think about this, like Theoden has essentially like another war to plan. You know how busy this guy is right now? Like this is a good CEO. This is like a good boss. And he takes time and he spends it with Merry listening, and he's about to listen to the what hobbits, like probably for Theoden one of the more inconsequential things he could do. But weirdly for Theoden, I feel like he too thinks this is important. He's a player's coach. That is actually a great it's a great understanding of Theoden. I gotta write an essay about this. Theoden the Compassionate. I love this moment. Theoden is great. One thing that I'm actually curious of is if the same thing is going to happen in the book, or the same thing is going to happen in the movie in the book, where Merry almost initially gets led into this army and then he gets like scorned and he can't go. I feel like that's going to happen in the book too, but we'll see. Yeah, no spoilers. No spoilers. I'm not reading half of this for no spoilers. I do not doubt it, said the king. I have had a good hill pony made ready for you. He will bear you as swift as any horse by the roads we shall take. For I will ride from the burg by the mountain paths, not by the plain, and so come to Edoras by way of Dunharrow, where the lady Eowyn awaits me. Ooh, Eowyn. Let's get back to Eowyn. You shall be my esquire, if you will. Is there gear of war in this place, Eomer, that my sword thane could use? There are no great weapon hoards here, lord, answered Eomer. Maybe a light helm might be found to fit him, but we have no mail or sword for one of his stature. I have a sword, said Merry, climbing from his seat, and drawing from its black sheath his small, bright blade, filled suddenly with love for this old man. He knelt on one knee, and took his hand and kissed it. May I lay the sword of Meriadoc on the shire of your lap? Theoden king, he cried. Receive my service, if you will. Gladly I will take it, said the king. And laying his long, old hands upon the brown hair of the hobbit, he blessed him. Rise now, Meriadoc, esquire of Rohan of the household of Meduseld, he said. Take your sword and bear it unto good fortune. As a father you shall be to me, said Merry, for a little while. Ah, this is so good. What a contrast with Denethor. Meduseld. I gotta remember that. Like, there's no coincidence that in the beginning of this chapter and the beginning of the last chapter that Merry and Pippin both pledge themselves to the king, and one is exhausted after this meeting, and Pippin is like, as a father you shall be to me, said Merry. No doubt who's the more compassionate, kindly man. And Gandalf even says that in the prior. Denethor might have more wisdom, but I would much rather be pledged to Theoden. Oh, let me know. Tell me that. Who would you rather fight for? Denethor or Theoden? I would probably rather be a man of Gondor, but I would rather fight for Theoden. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think everyone would probably say Theoden. Like, yeah, well, that's kind of my point. I wouldn't go Denethor, but I would probably want to fight for Theoden, or fight for Gondor, not for Denethor. Theoden loves horses. That's all you need to know. If you like horses, then you're good. Legitimately. Theoden is the reasonabler of the two. Faramir. We ride for Faramir. That's actually kind of true. You'd fight for Denethor because you get to fight for Faramir. And then like be side by side with Imrahil. Faramir is my brother, my captain, my king. Honestly, that movie line is great. That movie line still holds up. I think that was phenomenal. Oh, Boromir. Boromir, oh Boromir. Whence thou came, Boromir. Okay, let's keep reading. Also, like the stream. I forgot to mention that. So more people can, this can get out to more people. Typical stuff. Also, Revenant, you gifted a membership, and I totally didn't see that until now. Thank you. I don't know who got that membership, but thank you. And everyone say you're welcome to Revenant, because he's very kind with how he gifts memberships. I really wish Boromir could have lived too. Oh, I love Boromir. For all his flaws, I really, really love him. Really love him. All right, let's keep reading. They talked then together as they ate, until presently Eomer spoke. It is nearly the hour that we set for our going, Lord, he said. Shall I bid men sound the horns? But where is Aragorn? His place is empty, and he has not eaten. We will make ready to ride, said Theoden. But let word be sent to the Lord Aragorn that the hour is nigh. The king with his guard and Merry at his side passed down from the gate to the burg to where the riders were assembling on the green. Many were already mounted. It would be a great company, for the king was leaving only a small garrison in the burg, and all who could be spared were riding to the weapon take at Edoras. 1,000 spears had indeed already ridden away at night, but still there would be some 500 more to go with the king. For the most part, men from the field and dales of Westfold. A little apart, the rangers sat, silent, in an ordered company, armed with spear and bow and sword. They were clad in cloaks of dark gray, and their hoods were cast now over helm and head. Their horses were strong and of proud bearing, but rough-haired, and one stood there without a rider. Aragorn's own horse they had brought from the north. No way! Dude, we're getting Aragorn's own personal horse from the north? This little reunion? Rohirrim was his name. Oh, I love this. This is so good. What a fun chapter. This is literally like all these men from Rohan, they're like soldiers, but they're not like the world's greatest soldiers. And I just imagine on another side table, there is just like these Navy SEALs, and they're just eating their meal in silence, and they're just sitting together in silence. And then there's this horse that is this beautiful horse just sitting, waiting for Aragorn. Oh, I love this. Rohirrim was his name. There was no gleam of stone or gold, nor any fair thing in all their gear and harness. Nor did their riders bear any badge or token, save only that each cloak was pinned upon the left shoulder by a brooch of silver, shaped like a rayed star. Huh. A brooch of silver shaped like a rayed star. The king mounted his horse, Snowmane, and Merry sat beside him on his pony. Staiba was his name. I like that he names all the horses. Presently, Eomer came out from the gate, and with him was Aragorn and Halbarad, bearing the great staff close furled bearing the great staff close furled in black. And the two tall men, neither young nor old. These are the sons of Elrond. So much alike were they that the sons of Elrond, that few could tell them apart, dark-haired and gray-eyed, and their faces elven fair, clad alike in bright mail beneath cloaks of silver gray. Behind them walked Legolas and Gimli, but Merry had eyes only for Aragorn. So startling was the change that he saw in him, as if in one night many years had fallen on his head. Grim was his face, gray-hued and weary. Huh. I guess he's just stressed? I am troubled in mind, Lord, he said, standing by the king's horse. I have heard strange words, and I see now perils far off. I have labored long in thought, and now I fear I must change my purpose. Tell me, Theoden, you ride now to Dunharrow. How long will it be ere you come there? It is now a full hour past noon, said Eomer. Before the night of the third day from now, we should come to the hold. The moon will then be one night past as full, and the muster that the king commanded will be held the day after. More speed we cannot make. if the strength of Rohan is to be gathered. Man. Yeah, Aragorn seems like he's struggling a little bit. Stibba. Styiba. I need to go back to my pronunciation. Do we need to revisit Appendix E? I thought that was going to be the Star of Elendil, or there's a street sweeper outside right now. It's loud. Styiba. Stibba. It's just Stibba, right? Huh. Yeah, I'm guessing Aragorn just looks like this because he's stressed, but I'm guessing, yeah, we'll probably find out why. Poor guy. I feel bad for him. Aragorn was silent for a moment. 3 days, he murmured, and the muster of Rohan will only begin. The muster of Rohan will only be begun. But I see that it cannot now be hastened. He looked up, and it seemed that he had made some decision. His face was less troubled. Then, by your leave, Lord, I must take new counsel for myself and my kindred. We must ride on our own road, and no longer in secret. For me, the time of stealth has passed. I will ride east by the swiftest way, and I will take the paths of the dead. He's taking the paths of the dead with the other guys? That is so cool. That is so cool. This is so different. Dang. I can't wait to contrast this chapter with the Barrow-wights chapter. Or whenever they do hit the Green Army, or the Army of the Dead. Yeah, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli and 30 Rangers. This is the cream of the crop. You cannot get better than this. This is like SEAL Team 6. And I keep thinking, no one does anything alone. Like, the movies made a big thing about Aragorn feeling like he has to do this alone. And then there's a big thing about, and we're coming with you, laddie. In that one little section in the movies. And it's great. But there's like these healthy characters realize that there's no isolation. Like, you have to do things with these other people. So he takes his men, these other Dunedain. Ah, man. It's just so good. Also, welcome FFFFFFF Player 1. Glad it's the first time catching the stream. Yeah, it's essentially Aragorn's personal bodyguards and closest companions. This is such a good fighting force. If I could have any fighting force in all of Middle-earth right now, I would want to be here. Yeah, I'm 100% with you guys. This section is so much cooler in the book. I have so many thoughts running through my head for all these different things. The difference between leaders and equals. Oh. This is phenomenal. Aragorn goes with the Dunedain. This is so interesting. 30 mini Aragorns. Oh, it's so cool. So cool. All right, let's keep reading. Where are we? Paths of the dead, said Theoden, and trembled. Why do you speak of them? Eomer turned and gazed at Aragorn, and it seemed to Merry that the faces of the riders that sat within hearing turned pale at their words. If there be in truth such paths, said Theoden, their gate is in Dunharrow, but no living man may pass it. Alas, Aragorn, my friend, said Eomer, I had hoped that we should ride to war together. But if you seek the paths of the dead, then our parting is come, and it is little likely that we shall ever meet again under the sun. That road I will take nonetheless, said Aragorn. But I say to you, Eomer, that in battle we may yet again meet, though all the hosts of Mordor should not stand between. Dang. You will do as you will, my lord Aragorn, said Theoden. It is your doom, maybe, to tread strange paths that others dare not. This parting grieves me, and my strength is lessened by it. But now I must take the mountain road and delay no longer. Farewell. Farewell, lord, said Aragorn. Ride unto great renown. Farewell, Merry. I leave you in good hands, better than we hoped when we hunted the orcs to Fangorn. Legolas and Gimli will still hunt with me, I hope, but we shall not forget you. Oh, goodbye, said Merry. He could find no more to say. He felt very small, and he was puzzled and depressed by all these gloomy words. More than ever, he missed the unquenchable cheerfulness of Pippin. The riders were ready, and their horses were fidgeting. He wished they would start and get it over. Aw, he misses his buddy. It really is so interesting because I feel like there's such a theme of solitariness, being alone in this section, that it just contrasts with the movies. Like the movies have obviously the idea of like fellowship and that it's good to do things with other people. But in the books, it's like Pippin. It's like Merry in this moment doesn't feel really complete without Pippin. He feels lost. He needs like his cheerfulness in his life. Solitude. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. I'm just going to start calling it solitariness now. Berthillian, welcome. Good morning. Oh man, this is just so good. All right, we got to keep reading. Otherwise, we're going to be here for hours. So much to think about in this chapter already. I've already got like 4 essays I want to write. What is that phrase? If you want to go far, go alone. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I feel like there's a theme of this book. This is so good. All right, let's keep on. Now Theoden spoke to Eomer, and he lifted up his hand and cried aloud. And with that word, the riders set forth. They rode over the dike and down the coombe, and then, turning swiftly eastward, they took a path that skirted the foothills a mile or so, until bending south it passed among the hills and disappeared from view. Aragorn rode to the dike and watched till the king's men were far down the coombe. Then he turned to Halbarad. There go 3 that I love, and the smallest, not the least, he said. He knows not to what end he rides, yet if he knew, he still would go on. Little people, but of great worth are the Shire folk, said Halbarad. They little do they know of our long labor for the safekeeping of their borders, and yet I grudge it not. And now our fates are woven together, said Aragorn. And yet, alas, here we must part. Well, I must eat a little, and then we must also hasten away. Come, Legolas and Gimli. I must speak with you as I eat. Ah, it's so good. Michael, thanks for the $5. I appreciate it. Ominous portents for the Shire and Bree. They've been sheltered because of the Rangers and Leaf found at Orthanc. Yeah, I was literally thinking that. I was going, okay, if these 30 guys were guarding the Shire, dun dun dun, what's happening to the Shire now? I'm a little nervous. And man, they did a good job of guarding the Shire. This feels like these guys are like angels that are like guarding like the Garden of Eden. Like the Shire just feels like a holy land. Juiced, enjoy dinner. Man, this is so cool. Shadowrun, okay. I won't think about it too hard. But I think this is such an interesting chapter for just like solitariness and aloneness. Solitude and I love this. Little people. I love this depiction of Merry. He knows not what he knows not to what end he rides, yet if he knew, he still would go on. If that's not a good depiction of Pippin, or of Merry, I don't know what it is. What a brave little hobbit this guy is. All right, let's figure out what he's going to say to Legolas and Gimli while he's eating. Together they went back into the burg. Yet for some time Aragorn sat silent at the table in the hall, and the others waited for him to speak. Come, said Legolas at last. Speak and be comforted, and shake off the shadow. What has happened since we came back to this grim place in the grey morning? A struggle somewhat grimmer for my part than the battle of the Hornburg, answered Aragorn. I have looked in the stone of Orthanc, my friends. Oh my gosh. So that, oh my gosh. That's why he looked bad. Interesting. Okay. Now we're going to get a better depiction on what this stone actually does. A little Skype call with someone. You have looked in that accursed stone of wizardry? Exclaimed Gimli with fear and astonishment in his face. Did you say aught to him? Even Gandalf feared that encounter. This is crazy. That's why he was tired. Okay. Aragorn looks to the stone. Yeah, Aragorn looking to the stone is pretty much nothing. I know, I am going at a slow pace, but I like going at a slow pace. It's more relaxing. We just chill, read. I know it's long, but I got time. I got time today. I got to be out by 3, but I should be done by that. I'll probably be done by like 2. That's my guess. Another 2 hours. Probably another hour-ish of reading, and then we'll chill for another little bit. And just think about things, think about life. Okay, interesting. This accursed stone. Let's figure out what this accursed stone does. You forget to whom you speak, said Aragorn sternly, and his eyes glinted. Ooh, yikes. I haven't seen this side of Aragorn before. What do you fear that I should say to him? Did I not openly proclaim my title before the doors of Edoras? Nay, Gimli, he said in a softer voice, and the grimness left his face, and he looked like one who has labored in sleepless pain for many nights. Nay, my friends, I am the lawful master of the stone, and I had both the right and the strength to use it, or so I judged. The right cannot be doubted. The strength was enough. Barely. Interesting. Philip. Thanks for the $2. It's a top tier comment too, by the way. Something that just sparked my head. I got gross hair from my mic. If you know Harry Potter, is this stone at all like a Horcrux? Because I've never seen Aragorn get grumpy like this before. Or seem to like... I mean, I know speaking sternly isn't like a bad thing. But he's saying this to his friends and he seems mad about it. I know it's not like a Horcrux, but in the same way like a Horcrux makes you angry. Like this is a change in Aragorn's character that I haven't seen before. Yeah, maybe he's tired. He hasn't slept and he hasn't eaten. So yeah, okay. Being tired and not eating makes you cranky. And I like that he's talking with sternness here because it's like he's kingly. But like it's like he speaks in a stern way and then realizes who he's speaking to, and then he says this in a softer voice. Nay, my friends, I am the lawful master of the stone, and I had both the right and the strength to use it, or so I judged. The right cannot be doubted. The strength was enough. Barely. Yeah, it's exhausting for his will. So, this makes me think I need to know where the other stones are. I think I heard rumors somewhere that Denethor has a stone, but I don't know if that's true or not. And that would explain how he looks old and haggard and doesn't look very great. So maybe he has a stone too. And there was the one line in the previous chapter where it says that he like contends, where Baragon was saying that, right? He contends with... Maybe he does. Maybe that rumor is true. Interesting. Okay. Let's get back to Aragorn's crankiness. He drew a deep breath. It was a bitter struggle, and the weariness is slow to pass. I spoke no word to him, and in the end I wrenched the stone to my own will. That alone he will find hard to endure. Interesting. And he beheld me. Yes, Master Gimli, he saw me. But in the other guise than you see me here. But in other guise than you see me here? Oh, as king. Dang. Aragorn is a powerful dude. I mean, we all know that he's a powerful dude, but he's a powerful dude. And I love that he speaks to Gimli here. It's like he says this. This is such a funny line. I wrenched the stone to my own will. And then you could just see Gimli's jaw start to go unhinged, and he's like, oh my gosh. And he goes, that alone he will find hard to endure. And he beheld me. And he looks at Gimli. Yes, Master Gimli. Because Gimli's probably staring at him like, and he goes, yes, Master Gimli. He saw me. But in other guise than you see me here. If that will aid him, then I have done ill. But I do not think so. To know that I lived and walked the earth was a blow to his heart, I deem. For he knew it not till now. The eyes in Orthanc did not see through the armor of Theoden. But Sauron has not forgotten Isildur and the sword of Elendil. Now in the very hour of his great designs are heirs of Isildur and the swords are revealed. For I showed the blade reforged to him. He is not so mighty yet that he is far above fear. Nay, doubt ever gnaws him. Dang! So Sauron's a little scared. He doesn't know if he's actually going to accomplish this. Interesting. Yeah, doubt ever gnaws him really is a great line. This is so crazy. Essay title: Sauron is nervous. But he wields great dominion nonetheless, said Gimli. And now he will strike more swiftly. The hasty stroke goes oft astray, said Aragorn. We must press our enemy, and no longer wait upon him for the move. See, my friends, when I had mastered the stone, I learned many things. A grave peril I saw coming unlooked for upon Gondor from the south, that will draw off great strength from the defense of Minas Tirith. If it is not countered swiftly, I deem that the city will be lost ere 10 days be gone. When I mastered the stone, I learned many things. A grave peril I saw coming, unlooked for, upon Gondor from the south, that will draw off great strength from the defense of Minas Tirith. He has to be talking about the ships, right? Yeah, the Black Corsair ships. Okay. That's interesting because in the movies, they don't seem like that great of a threat. I guess because these ships are coming, this is like serious siege. Huh. This is fascinating. Also, everyone liked to stream. I hate doing that, but you gotta. I have no help to send. Therefore I must go myself, said Aragorn. But there is only one way through the mountains that will bring me to the coastland before all is lost. That is the Paths of the Dead. The Paths of the Dead, said Gimli. It is a fell name, and little to the liking of the men of Rohan, as I saw. Can the living use such a road and not perish? And even if you pass that way, what will so few avail to counter the strokes of Mordor? The living have never used that road since the coming of the Rohirrim, said Aragorn, for it is closed to them. But in this dark hour, the heir of Isildur may use it, if he dare. Listen. This is the word that the sons of Elrond bring to me from their father in Rivendell, wisest in lore. Bid Aragorn remember the words of the seer and the paths of the dead. And what may be the words of the seer? I was literally going to ask that question, said Legolas. Thus spoke Malbeth. Is that Macbeth's brother? Thus spoke Malbeth, the seer, in the days of Arvedui, last king at Fornost, said Aragorn. Turn the page. Here we go. Here's some prophecy. Okay, here we go. What is this? The words of the seer. Interesting. Okay. Over the land there lies a long shadow, westward reaching wings of darkness. The tower trembles to the tombs of kings. Doom approaches. The dead awaken, for the hour has come for the oathbreakers. At the stone of Eric they shall stand again, and hear there a horn in the hills ringing. Whose shall the horn be? Who shall call them from the gray twilight, the forgotten people, the heir of him to whom the oath they swore? From the north shall he come, Need shall drive him. He shall pass the door to the paths of the dead. This is like a prophecy. This is so crazy. So different from the movie. I need to just divorce the two in my head. This is so cool. Like, I had never thought that there were seers in Middle Earth. This is maybe the first thing that I'm seeing of like someone who's a seer. Other than potentially Elrond, who has the gift of foresight, but that seems less like something that, like, maybe that's like a little bit of a gift of seer. But this is like someone who's actually a seer. And like in the real way. Interesting. Yeah, of course it's the prophecy goes, you'll see her. I know. But I'm just thinking out loud here. Let me reread this again. Over the land there lies a long shadow. So that's Mordor. That probably has to be Mordor. Westward reaching wings of darkness. The tower trembles to the tomb of kings. The tomb of kings is Minas Tirith. The tower trembles. Or is this where the Barrow-wights live? The tower trembles to the tomb of kings. Is that just showing how far? Oh no, to the tomb of kings, doom approaches. That's Minas Tirith. That has to be Minas Tirith. The dead awaken, for the hour is come for the oathbreakers. So that's the dead. At the stone of Eric, they shall stand again. Who's Eric, and why does he have a stone? I know, but I thought for the Barrow-wights, I thought this was essentially saying like the darkness is approaching literally the entire land, from the land of the Barrow-wights all the way to Mordor. But it's more so talking that the doom is approaching that place. And here there shall be a horn in the hills ringing. Boromir. We need Boromir and his horn. Whose shall the horn be? Who shall call them from their great twilight, the forgotten people? The heir of him to whom the oath they swore? From the north he shall come, need shall drive him. He shall pass the door to the paths of the dead. Dark ways, doubtless, said Gimli, but no darker than these staves are to me. If you would understand them better, then I bid you come with me, said Aragorn. For that way I now shall take. But I do not go gladly, only need drives me. Therefore, only of your free will would I have you come. For you will find both toil and great fear, and maybe worse. I will go with you, even on the paths of the dead, and to whatever end they may lead, said Gimli. Ah, let's go! I will also come, said Legolas, for I do not fear the dead. I hope the forgotten people will not have forgotten how to fight, said Gimli, for otherwise I see not why we should trouble them. It's great. I will say, one thing that I think the movies do really well is adding the elements of humor. It doesn't do this as good as Tolkien, but it does add elements of humor after serious moments really well, like Tolkien does. Like Tolkien just is chilling here, and he is putting a serious part in, and he's like, Gimli is like, I will go with you, even on paths of dead, and to whatever end they may lead. And Legolas goes, I will also come, for I do not fear the dead. And Gimli goes, I hope that the forgotten people will not have forgotten how to fight. I love that. It's such a good moment. And I think the movies actually kind of do that well. They do the humor of it pretty well. This is so good. That we shall know if we ever come to Eric, said Aragorn. Or Erech. It's really Erech. It's Bach. Erech. Said Aragorn. But the oath that they broke was to fight against Sauron. and they must fight therefore if they are to fulfill it. For at Erech there stands yet a black stone that was brought, it was said, from Numenor by Isildur, and it was set upon a hill. And upon it the king of the mountain swore allegiance to him in the beginning of the realm of Gondor. But when Sauron returned and grew in might again, Isildur summoned the men of the mountain to fulfill their oath, and they would not, for they had worshipped Sauron in the dark years. Oh my gosh, that adds a different element. They weren't just cowards. They had totally abandoned Gondor in the realm of men and were worshipping Sauron. That's crazy. Michael, thanks again for the $5. Wow. I know, I keep hearing that chapter is phenomenal. I'm pretty pumped for that chapter. Dead men worshipped Sauron. That's crazy. That adds a whole new element to the story. I'm going to be really, really annoying when I watch this movie again with friends. Like, I'm going to watch this with my family, and I am just going to talk the whole movie. I cannot wait. I am going to say every point about this. As soon as it hits this point, and as soon as they get to the dead men, I'm going to go, did you guys know that these dead men actually worshipped Sauron in the dark days, in the dark years? This is crazy. Sauron the Deceiver. I've joined you guys. I'm glad to be of your company, everyone. This is crazy though. They actually worship Sauron in the dark years. I want to know what those dark years were like. This is crazy. Yeah, I'm going to 100% talk the entire film. What would you guys say, Michael, to your question? There's chapters that are totally divorced from the book. What would you guys say is the chapter that is the most different from the book? I don't know if I'm going to read comments about that because I don't want any spoilers. But talk amongst yourself, and I'll keep reading. Dark Years for the Children of Húrin and the Silmarillion. Okay. Excellent. We'll get there. I mean, this one is totally different. I kind of agree. This one is crazy. So much better in the book. Okay. Then Isildur said to their king, "Thou shalt be the last king. And if the west prove mightier than thy black master, this curse I lay upon thee and thy folk, to never rest until your oath is fulfilled. For this war will last 3 years uncounted, and you shall be summoned once again ere the end." And they fled before the wrath of Isildur. Isildur is kind of like a serious dude. I feel like the power of Isildur is actually something that the movies do not talk about that much. And they fled before the wrath of Isildur. Like, Isildur is someone who doesn't like rival Sauron, but kind of does at the same time. But it's also weak. He's a little weakling who couldn't cast the freaking ring into the fire. And they fled before the wrath of Isildur, and did not dare go forth to war on Sauron's part. And they hid themselves in secret places in the mountains, and had no dealings with other men, but slowly dwindled in the barren hills. And the terror of the sleepless dead lies about the hill of Erech, and all places where that people lingered. But that way I must go, since there are none living to help me. He stood up. "Come," he cried, and drew his sword. It flashed in the twilight hall of the burg, to the stone of Erech. I seek the paths of the dead. Come with me, who will. Legolas and Gimli made no answer, but they rose and followed Aragorn from the hall. On the green, there waited, still silent, the hooded rangers. Legolas and Gimli mounted. Aragorn sprang upon Rohirrim. Then Halbarad lifted a great horn. The horn! And the blast of it echoed in Helm's Deep. And with that they leapt away, riding down the combe like thunder, while all the men that were left on the dike or burg stared in amaze. Anybody else get the chills? Anybody else? Oh, dang. Okay, guys, I don't know much about Isildur. I didn't know that he was really, really cool. I'll find this out as I keep reading. Don't worry. I'm just like a neophyte over here. I don't know anything. In my depiction, he's still just a movie person. I like how I'm triggering all these Tolkien fans. I don't know what I'm talking about. Forgive me. He seems incredible. Like this one section where he puts his curse on them, and it says they fled before the wrath of Isildur. It feels like he is competing with Sauron here. Like they're actually more afraid of him than they are Sauron, and that shows that you have a lot of power. I can't wait till we get to Isildur. He knows not what he speaks. I love this. This is interesting. Now I'm really, really excited to get to Isildur. But I don't know when we'll get there. Probably, I'm sure he's in the Silmarillion. But we'll get there soon. We'll get there eventually. All right, like 5 more pages. I'm making good pace. I think this is a good pace. An hour and a half. Another like hour of reading. A little less maybe. And while Théoden went by slow paths in the hills, the Grey Company passed swiftly over the plain. And on the next day in the afternoon they came to Edoras. And there they halted only briefly, ere they passed up the valley, and so came to Dunharrow as darkness fell. The Lady Eowyn greeted them, and was glad of their coming, for no mightier men had she seen than the Dunedain, and the fair sons of Elrond. But on Aragorn most of all her eyes rested. And when they sat at supper with her, they talked together, and she heard of all that had passed since Théoden rode away, concerning which only hasty tidings had yet reached her. And when she had heard of the battle of Helm's Deep, and the great slaughter of their foes, and of the charge of Théoden and his knights, then her eyes shone. But at last she said, Lords, you are weary, and shall now go to your beds with such ease as can be contrived in haste. But tomorrow fairer housing shall be found for you. But Aragorn said, Nay, lady, be not troubled for us. If we may lie here tonight and break our fast tomorrow, it will be enough. For I ride on an errand most urgent, and with the first light of morning we must go. She smiled on him, and said, Then it was kindly done, Lord, to ride so many miles out of your way to bring tidings to Eowyn, and to speak with her in exile. Indeed, no man would count such a journey wasted, said Aragorn. And yet, lady, I could not have come hither, if it were not that road which I must take lead me to Dunharrow. And she answered as that. Sorry, I can't read right now. And she answered as one that likes not what is said. Then, Lord, you are astray. For out of a Harrowdale no road runs east or south, and you had best return as you came. Nay, lady, said he, I am not astray, For I walked in this land ere you were born to grace it. I'm old. You're young. How old is Eowyn right now? I think we got through that once. I think that was kind of like slightly told, but how old is she again? Eowyn's like, here, she come over here. 23, 24? She's great though. Yeah, she's crushing, but I think she's so good. She's so in such command. She's great. We've barely even seen her. But she just has such like a hospitable command. I don't know. It's like she's great. It's like a sexy little command. Also, everyone liked the stream. She's like 2 years old in Aragorn's mind. Then she stared at him as one that is stricken, and her face blanched. Oh no, I missed a section, sorry. For I walked in this land ere you were born to grace it. There is a road out of this valley, and that road I shall take. Tomorrow I shall ride by the paths of the dead. And she stared at him, as one that is stricken, and her face blanched, and for long she spoke no more, while they all sat silent. But Aragorn, she said at last, is it then your errand to seek death? For that is all that you will find on that road. They do not suffer the living to pass. They may suffer me to pass, said Aragorn. But at the least I will adventure it. No other road will serve. But this is madness, she said. For here are men of renown and prowess, whom you should not take into the shadows, but you should lead to war, where men are needed. I beg you to remain and ride with my brother, for then all of our hearts will be gladdened and our hope be brighter. It is not madness, lady, he answered, for I go on a path appointed, but those who follow me do so of their free will. And if they wish now to remain and ride with the Rohirrim, they may do so. But I shall take the paths of the dead, alone if need be. Then they said no more, and they ate in silence. A little awkward meeting after they talked. But her eyes were ever upon Aragorn, of course. And the others saw that she was in great torment of mind. At length they arose and took their leave of the lady, and thanked her for her care, and went to their rest. But as Aragorn came to the booth where he was to lodge with Legolas and Gimli, and his companions had gone in, there came the Lady Eowyn after him, and called to him. He turned and saw her as a glimmer in the night, for she was clad in white, but her eyes were on fire. Aragorn, she said, why will you go on this deadly road? Because I must, he said. Only so I can see any hope of doing my part in the war against Sauron. I do not choose paths of peril, Eowyn. I go to where my heart dwells, far in the north. I would now be wandering in the fair valley of Rivendell. Wait, were I to go where my heart dwells? Were I to go where my heart dwells, far in the north, I would be now wandering in the fair valley of Rivendell. This is kind of heartbreaking. For a while she was silent, as if pondering what this might mean. Sorry, Eowyn. Arwen's waiting. Then suddenly she laid her hand on his arm. You are a stern lord and resolute, she said. And thus do men win renown. She paused. Lord, she said, if you must go, then let me ride in your following. She's about Dude, that's actually unbelievable. And thus the men win renown, she paused. Lord, she said, if you must go, then let me ride in your following, for I am weary of skulking in the hills and wish to face peril in battle. Hold on, time out. We need to talk for a second. Eowyn does Eowyn know Arwen exists? She's young. Aragorn says this line that he wishes to be in the fair valley of Rivendell, if that's where his heart could lead him. And Eowyn is like, I wonder what that means. Or does she know what it means? Because that would change the reading of this. So, if she doesn't know, then she's still kind of crushing on Aragorn. She doesn't know fully what he meant by, like, I'm going to go back down to Rivendell. And so this means that she's like, I want to go with you. And I'm sure Aragorn's going to be like, no. But I was thinking, if she knows, if you also read this and interpret this as like, okay, so she figures out that Aragorn has a girlfriend in Rivendell, which honestly, she probably is figuring that out in her head. If a guy goes, I don't want to be here right now. I just want to be in the Valley of Rivendell. That's where my heart truly desires to go. You're going, dude, you're not just thinking about like living in a valley somewhere. You probably have a girl back there. I'm sure that Eowyn is smart enough that she can realize that. But then if she realizes that and comes to that understanding, then her saying this is supremely brave and so mature. And she moves past a crush faster than any human being has ever moved past a crush before in their life. She goes, okay. That ship has sailed. And then she goes, I still want to march with you into battle. I still want to come with you. It's actually kind of sweet. She has not moved past the crush yet. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah, she's a complex character. She's interesting. She's great. I love her right now. This is great. This is so interesting. But I love that she's willing to go with him. Even though you're still crushing. Imagine if your crush wants to go, into a place with dead people. And it's a road that no one has ever traveled before because it's the road of the dead. It's kind of romantic and cute that she's like, I want to come with you. Legitimately, that's actually kind of incredible. That's a strong woman right there. This is the kind of woman I want. Wow. This is cool. So she has other reasons to go. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Does she know one of these dead people? Your duty is with your people, he answered. Too often have I heard of this. Or too often have I heard of duty, she cried. But am I not of the house of Orl? A shield maiden and not a dry nurse? I have waited on faltering feet long enough. Since they falter no longer, it seems, may I not now spend my life as I will. Few may do that with honor, he answered. But as for you, lady, did you not accept the charge to govern the people until your lord returns? If you had not been chosen, then some marshal or captain would have been set in that same place. And he could not ride away from his charge, were he weary of it or no. Shall I always be chosen, she said bitterly. Shall I always be left behind when the riders depart, to mind the house while they win renown, and find food and beds when they return? The time may soon come. She's got, okay, I'm going to say this, and it might anger everyone. She's got a little bit of Boromir in her. In all the right ways. Eorl, sorry. But like, okay, take the good qualities of Boromir. I mean, everyone fears Boromir a little bit, and they're like, oh, he's not a good character. In my opinion, Boromir is one of my favorite characters, and I love Boromir with everything in me. She wants to win renown. That's a Boromir thing, but it's like a good quality of Boromir. It's not a bad thing to like want to gain honor and renown in these things. It's a bad thing if that's the only thing that drives you. But she has like a lot of Boromir's good qualities of like bravery and courage. To me, she's like legitimately like a female version of Boromir, which if she ends up getting together with Faramir, that's going to say something else. But she feels strong, brave, courageous, and naive. Those are the things that I'm talking about. She wants to battle now. Exactly. Okay, I'm good. I'm glad everyone loves Boromir. When I was doing some of the essays on Boromir, people were not liking Boromir. That's for sure. She's like a depressed Boromir. She's like a more depressed Boromir. Honestly, that's actually a great depiction. Her and Boromir could have gotten along great. She does kind of I feel like she kind of does regret being a woman. I'm glad in this house we love Boromir. Because Boromir is still one of my favorite characters. I still love him so much. And I cannot wait to reread and spend more time with Boromir. I love Boromir. We only got one book with him. That's so sad. This is interesting. I like this. This is good writing. Okay, let's keep reading. Where did I leave off? A time may come soon, said he. 1 second. I gotta write a note. Maybe I'll write an essay about Eowyn. My note is just Eowyn is Boromir. A time may come soon, said he, when none will return. Then there will be need of valor without renown. For none shall remember the deeds that are done in the last defense of your homes. Yet the deeds will not be less valiant because they are unpraised. And she answered, all your words are but to say, you are a woman, and your part is in the house. Oh, dang. She's kind of calling him out really well. But when the men have died in battle and honor, you have leave to be burned in the house, for the men will need it no more. But I am of the house of Eorl, and not a serving woman. I can ride and wield a blade, and do not fear either pain or death. What do you fear, lady? He asked. A cage, she said. To stay behind bars until use and old age accept them, and all chance of doing great deeds is gone beyond recall or desire. That is just the line that Boromir would say. Interesting. When we were at the, I don't know anything about this, so you guys have to tell me this. I know people have read the Shelob chapters as this is like Tolkien's understanding of feminism gone too far or something like that. Didn't Jess of the Shire do a video like that? Where she was talking about how like some of the female depictions of evil are like Tolkien's understanding of feminism gone too far. Because then this is like the course correction. This is like feminism like stunted, but where it should be. You know what I mean? Eowyn is not the ideal of feminism. Interesting. Well, not like her current place. obviously. But like where she wants to go feels like it is. You know what I mean? Shelob is more of an all-devouring void. Evil femininity. Interesting. Okay. I didn't watch the video because I didn't want any spoilers. But I think I watched like the first few minutes and it was kind of about that. And when I felt like it was going to spoiler territory, I said turn off. There's probably some boy spiders out there. Eowyn. Interesting. I love her as a character so far. Okay, let's keep reading. And yet, you counseled me not to adventure on the road that I had chosen because it is perilous. So may one counsel another, she said. Yet I do not bid you flee from peril, but to ride to battle where your sword may win renown and victory. I would not see a thing that is high and excellent cast away needlessly. Nor would I, he said. Therefore I say to you, ladies, stay, for you have no errand to the south. Neither have those others who go with thee. They only go because they would not be parted from thee, because they love thee. Then she turned and vanished into the night. Oh, Eowyn. Aww. That is a good mic drop moment. She really is caged. I feel it sucks for her. What was that? There was a line from the movie Gladiator when Marcus Aurelius is looking at his daughter or whatever, and he goes, "Oh, had you been born a man, what an emperor you would have become." That's what I feel for Eowyn. Had she been born a man, oh my gosh, what a warrior she would have been. But it's not the time. Faramir, okay, again, if she ends up getting together with Faramir, that's going to be a perfect combination. Because Faramir is going to not like chill her out a little bit, but show her the virtue of patience and study and rule. And it's not all about just brazen bravery or brazenness. Interesting. Aw. Venarthron. Thank you. I appreciate that. I can't wait to get to the Silmarillion. I'm predicting the future? All right. Honestly, that is a great movie line. There are some really, really good movie lines. And I probably, when I finish The Lord of the Rings, maybe I'll do like a commentary of me watching the movies or something. But there are some really great movie lines. The movie lines steal a lot of lines from the book. Like the cage line was exactly stolen from the book. But there's still some really great ones. All right, let's keep reading. Almost there. Almost there. When the light of day was come into the sky. Wait. Is this where I am? Yeah. When the light of day was come into the sky, but the sun was not risen above the high ridges in the east, Aragorn made ready to depart. His company was all mounted, and he was about to leap into the saddle when the lady Eowyn came to bid them farewell. She was clad as a rider, and girt with a sword. In her hand she bore a cup, and she set it to her lips and drank a little, wishing them good speed. And then she gave the cup to Aragorn, and he drank, and he said, "Farewell, Lady of Rohan. I drink to the fortunes of your house, and of you, and of all your people. Say to your brother, beyond the shadows, we may meet again." I really love the little relationship of Eomer and Aragorn. They just seem like battle buddies. I kind of love them. Then it seemed to Gimli and Legolas, who were nearby, that she wept. And in one so stern and proud, that seemed the more grievous. But she said, Aragorn, wilt thou go? I will, he said. Then wilt thou not let me ride with this company as I have asked? I will not, lady, he said. For that I could not grant without leave of the king and of your brother, and they will not return until tomorrow. But I count now every hour, indeed, every minute. Farewell. Then she fell on her knees, saying, I beg thee. I feel so bad for her. This hurts. Ah, Aragorn, just let her go with you. Come on. Nay, lady, she said. And taking her by the hand, he raised her. Then he kissed her hand and sprang into the saddle and rode away, and did not look back. And only those who knew him well and were near to him saw the pain that he bore. Oh! I'm completely with you. I think that she needs to stay because she does need to learn about duty. But at the same time, I want her to want what she wants. I want her to get what she wants. Like, this is I guess the curse of leadership in some way. That she just hasn't learned yet because she's young. That you just have to do things that you necessarily don't want to do. But I really want her to be able to get what she wants. This hurts. But none of her folk saw this parting, for they hid themselves in fear and would not come forth until the day was up, and the reckless strangers were gone. And some said, they are elvish wights. Let them go where they belong, into the dark places, and never return. The times are evil enough. Huh. Superstitious little people here. They're not superstitious, but they're a little stitious. Interesting. Wait, what's interesting about the grammar? I missed something about the grammar. Someone tell me another thing about the grammar. Eowyn isn't a feminist character. She's a lonely young woman who longs for companionship and has given up on love, thus yearning for the comradeship of soldiers. What would you characterize as a feminist character? I feel like that kind of, like feminism is like, I don't know. I don't know how to define that. But it's like letting a woman do what she wants as she wishes. I missed a sentence? Did I miss a sentence? read Tom's comment. Hold on. Sorry, my eye is getting blurry. I got a floater in my eye. Wait, Tom. She uses okay. Oh, yeah. I was actually going to say that because the these and the thous are the informal. Everyone thinks that they're more formal, so everyone like uses them when they want to be high and like mighty. But actually, the these and the thous are formal and they're familiar, and the you and the all those other things, and the way that we speak are the formal. The informal versus the formal. That's a great point. Friend zones with grammar. Maybe I'll write a little essay on that. Actually, that'd be a fun essay. Friend zone with grammar. I was going to say that actually. But, because he goes, Aragorn, wilt thou go? And he should say, I wilt. But he says, I will, he said. Then wilt thou not let me ride with this company as I have asked? I will not, he said. Yeah, post-read discussion. Okay, let's get back to the book. Post-read discussion indeed. Because I want to actually talk about that. Everyone like the stream? If you haven't liked the stream already, like it. Give it a thumbs up. The light was still gray as they rode. I already read that. Did I read that? No, the light was still gray as they rode, for the sun had not yet climbed over the black ridges of the haunted mountain before them. A dread fell on them, even as they passed between the lines of ancient stone and so came to the dim old. There, under the gloom of the black trees that not even Legolas could long adore, they had found a hollow place opening at the mountain's root, and right in their path stood a single mighty stone, like a finger of doom. My blood runs chill, said Gimli. But the others were silent, and his voice fell dead on the dank fir needles at his feet. The horses would not pass the threatening stone until the riders dismounted and led them about. And so they came at last deep into the glen. And there stood a sheer wall of rock. And in the wall, the dark door gaped before them, like the mouth of night. Signs and figures were carven above its wide arch, too dim to read, and fear flowed from it like a gray vapor. The company halted, and there was not a heart among them that did not quail, unless it were the heart of Legolas of elves, for whom the ghosts of men have no terror. Wait, the company halted, and there was not a heart among them that did not quail, unless it were the heart of Legolas of the elves, for whom the ghosts of men have no terror. Why do the ghosts of men have no terror of elves? Oh, they don't die. Oh, interesting. That's kind of cool. This is an evil door, said Halbarad, and my death lies beyond it. I will dare to pass it nonetheless. But no horse will enter. Oh, Aragorn literally just got his horse and he has to give his horse up? That's sad. But we must go in, and therefore, yes, the horses must go too, said Aragorn. For if ever we come through this darkness, many leagues lie beyond, and every hour that is lost there will bring the triumph of Sauron nearer. Follow me. Then Aragorn led the way, and such was the strength of his will that in that hour all the Dunedain and their horses followed him. Aragorn is such a good leader that he gets horses to follow him. This is so good. He gets horses And indeed, the love that the horses of the rangers bore for their riders was so great that they were willing to face even the terror of the door if their masters' hearts were steady as they walked beside them. But Arad, the horse of Rohan, refused the way, and he stood sweating and trembling in a fear that was grievous to see. Poor Arad! Then Legolas laid his hand on his eyes and sang some words that went soft in the gloom, until he suffered himself to be led, and Legolas passed in. Then there stood Gimli, the dwarf, left all alone. His knees shook, and he was wroth with himself. Here is a thing unheard of, he said. An elf will go underground and a dwarf dare not? With that he plunged in. But it seemed to him that he dragged his feet like lead over the threshold, and at once a blindness came upon him, even upon Gimli, Gloin's son, who had walked unafraid in many deep places of the world. Man, that's intimidating. He knows how to end these sections really well. Horses are pack animals. Interesting. Zebras cannot be tamed because they are not pack animals. Can any pack animal be tamed? This is a side conversation. Zebras are just donkeys, aren't they? Colorful or non-colorful donkeys. Bison won't be tamed. Maybe we just haven't gotten to tame them yet. Imagine just riding bison, being a bison rider. All right, another 3 pages. Aragorn had brought torches from Dunharrow, and now he went ahead, bearing one aloft. And Elladan with another went at the rear, and Gimli, stumbling behind, strove to overtake him. He could see nothing but the dim flame of the torches, but if the company halted, there seemed an endless whisper of voices all about him, a murmur of words in no tongue that he had ever heard before. Nothing assailed the company nor withstood their passage, and yet steadily fear grew on the dwarf as he went on, most of all because he knew now that there could be no turning back. All the paths behind were thronged by an unseen host that followed in the dark. That's scary. It's like my worst nightmare. So time unreckoned passed, until Gimli saw a sight that he was ever afterward loth to recall. The road was wide, as far as he could judge, but now the company came suddenly into a great empty space, and there were no longer any walls upon either side. The dread was so heavy on him that he could hardly walk. Away to the left, something glittered in the gloom as Aragorn's torch drew near. Then Aragorn halted and went to look what it might be. Does he feel no fear? Muttered the dwarf. In any other cave, Gimli, Gloin's son, would have been the first to run to the gleam of gold, but not here. Let it lie. Nonetheless, he drew near, and Aragorn's kneeling while Elladan held aloft both torches. Before him were the bones of a mighty man. He had been clad in mail, and still his harness lay there whole, for the cavern's air was dry as dust, and his hauberk was gilded. His belt was of gold and garnets, and rich with gold was the helm upon his bony head, face downward on the floor. He had fallen near the far wall of the cave, and now could be seen. And before him stood a stony door closed fast. His finger bones were still clawing at the cracks. A notched and broken sword lay by him, as if he had hewn at the rock in his last despair. Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah, he's Tolkien and his horror writing is just top tier. It is so good. Aragorn did not touch him, but after gazing silently for a while, he rose and sighed. Hither shall the flowers of Cymbalmyrna come never until the wait. Hither shall the flowers of Cymbalmyrna never come unto the world's end, he murmured. 9 mounds, and 7 there are now, green with grass. And though all the long years he has lain at the door, he could not unlock. Whither does it lead? Why would he pass? None shall ever know. Hold on. There are 9 mounds, and there are 7 green with grass. Was he not? So this king wasn't put into the mound because this king is just chilling there. Wait. This wasn't a king of Rohan though, was it? Was Rohan the kingdom that fled to the hills, like a faction of Rohan? Crazy. Oh, that's appendices. Oh my gosh, I can't wait till I get there. That's crazy. So does no Cymbalmyrna grow on his mound? Hither shall the flowers of Cymbalmyrna come never unto the world's end, he murmured. 9 mounds and 7 there are now green with grass. And though all the long years he has lain at the door that he could not unlock, whither does it lead? Why would he pass? None shall ever know. He doesn't have a mound, but there's 9 mounds though. And 7 there are now green with grass. So wait, okay, so are there 9 mounds that have Cymbalmyrna on it that are tombs, and then there's other tombs that just have green grass on them? Oh, should be 10. 9 on one side, 7 on the other. 9 from the royal line. Okay. Yeah, it is a bit embarrassed that they found him like that. This is cool. Point is, he didn't have a mound. Yeah. That's crazy. None shall ever know. For that is not my errand, he cried, turning back and speaking to the whispering darkness behind. Keep your hoards and your secrets hidden in the accursed years. Speed only, we ask. Let us pass, and then come. I summon you to the stone of Erech. So, the king, I wonder if he's going to get his mound. Are they going to bring his bones back? That would be an honoring thing to do at the end of the story. Huh. I'm curious. I hope there's something in the Silmarillion about, or something in the appendices about that. This is really interesting. There was no answer, unless it were an utter silence, more dreadful than the whispers before. And then a chill blast came in which the torches flickered and went out, and could not be rekindled. Of the time that followed, 1 hour or many, Gimli remembered little. The others pressed on, but he was ever hindmost, pursued by a groping horror that seemed always just about to seize him. And a rumor came after him like the shadow sound of many feet. He stumbled on until he was crawling like a beast on the ground and felt that he could endure no more. He must either find an ending and escape, or run back into madness and meet the following fear. Suddenly he heard the tinkle of water, and a sound hard and clear as stone falling into a dream of dark shadow. That's just Legolas is just over there taking a pee. Sorry. Light grew, and lo, the company passed through another gateway, high arched and broad, and a rill ran out beside them. And beyond, going steeply down, was a road between sheer cliffs, knife-edged against the sky far above. So deep and narrow was that chasm that the sky was dark, and in it small stars glinted. Yet as Gimli after learned, it was still 2 hours ere sunset of the day on which they had set out from Dunharrow. Though for all that he could tell, it might have been twilight in some later year, or in some other world. The company now mounted again, and Gimli returned to Legolas. They rode in file, and evening came on, and deep blue dusk, and still fear pursued them. Legolas, turning to speak to Gimli, looked back, and the dwarf saw before his face, the glitter in the elf's bright eyes. Behind them rode Elladan, last of the company, but not the last of those that took the downward road. The dead are following, said Legolas. I see shapes of men and of horses, pale banners like shreds of cloud, and spears like winter thickets on a mighty night, or on a misty night. The dead are following. Yes, the dead ride behind. They have been summoned, said Elladan. Gosh, this is crazy. This is actually so crazy. This is terrifying. How are they going to wrap up this chapter in another 2 pages? Dang. All right, there's a lack of green, but I'm still going to call them the Green Men. No, I'll call them the Army of the Dead now. So these are Rohanian men. Interesting. Huh. All right, let's keep reading. The company came at last out of the ravine, as suddenly as if they had issued from a crack in a wall. And there lay the uplands of the great vale before them, and the stream beside them went down with a cold voice over many falls. Where in Middle Earth are we? Said Gimli. And Aladdin answered, We have descended from the uprising of the Morthond, a long chilling river that flows at last to the sea that washes the walls of Dol Amroth. You will not need to ask hereafter how comes its name. Blackroot men call it. The Morthon Vale made a great bay that beat up against the sheer southern faces of the mountains. Its steep slopes were grass green, but all was gray in that hour, for the sun had gone, and far below lights twinkled in the homes of men. The vale was rich, and many folk dwelt there. Hold on 1 second. I probably should be doing this. I probably should just finish real quick. I want to find this on a map. What? They're talking about like a sea? Hold on. Take a quick journey with me. This will be like a 2-minute delay. The dead are not from Rohan. Oh. The oathbreakers are not from Rohan. Hold on. So I got a map up. So hold on. Clear this up in my head. That guy that was at the gate was the king of Rohan, but he wasn't the oathbreaker. Huh. They are subjects of Gondor. Okay, interesting. All right. So this is Bilbo's journey. I don't want Bilbo's journey. I don't want to click on Aragorn's journey because maybe there's something else I'm going to miss. But we're just going to look at a map here. Okay, so this is Edoras. This is just where they were. So they came down here. And meanwhile, Merry and Theoden are taking the mountain pass. So they're probably coming up this way through the mountains. So Aragorn is somewhere around here. Oh, Erech. Here we go. And this is the little lake that they're talking about. I'm guessing it's somewhere around here. You can see where my mouse is. So this is Erech. Erech. I wish I could zoom in more. This map, I need to zoom in more. I wish I could. I can't. I need a better map. This map is great, but I still just need to zoom in more. Hold on. Let me bring my keyboard over and manually zoom. See if I can do this. There we go. Now we're talking. Okay. No. Okay, so he comes here. Westfold, Eastfold. I'm sure they probably went right up into this pass right here. Maybe this is like the pass. They came to Erech. And then they're going to take where the mouths of the Anduin. But this, Look in Discord, thank you. Hold on one sec. Ooh, thank you, that helps. That's what I need. You guys are the best. I love this. I love you guys. Okay, here we go. This is much better. So, okay, this is where they go. They come up to Erech, but then I need to see the next image that you sent. So he comes up through here. Okay. One of my questions, though. So we're looking at this. One of my questions is they mention so they need to stop the whatchamacallits, the sea people. I'm guessing this little dotted line is maybe the road that leads to it, and they'll probably stop them here and they'll go up the Anduin up to Osgiliath. Because they were talking about I don't know. Yeah, read and find out. I know. I'll get there, right? I'll get there. All right, that was a little detour that we had to take, that I had to take for my own good. Eowyn was the first king of Rohan. The dead were the people living in Rohan before there was a Rohan. Interesting. Okay. So, hold on. Maybe I missed something. I probably missed some of the lore here. But they go into this like antechamber. And was that Eowyn? That was one of the kings of Rohan. Because he didn't have a mound. I don't know who that was. Did they say who it was? Did I miss that? Why was he there? Was he trying to get in? It seemed like he was trying to get in, not out. Oh, hold on. My chat is a next chapter. Okay, next chapter. No one give any spoilers, though. I just saw next chapter. I don't know anything about that skeleton. Okay, good to know. No one say a thing. I'm not even going to look at the chat for a bit. I'm going to keep reading. Hopefully it will filter away. I'm also just going to say thank you to... wait. Michael, thank you again for the $5. Really, really appreciate that. Shattermelon, thank you again for the $5 too. You guys are the best. Legitimately, you guys keep the stream running. 122. All right, we got a half an hour. Where are we? Here we go. The Morthon Vale made a great bay that beat up against the sheer southern faces of the mountain. Its steep slopes were grass grown, but all was gray in that hour, for the sun had gone, and far beyond lights twinkled in the homes of men. The vale was rich, and many folk dwelt there. Then, without turning, Aragorn cried aloud so that all could hear, "Friends, forget your weariness. Ride now. Ride. We must come to the Stone of Eric ere this day passes. And long still is the way." So without looking back, they rode the mountain fields until they came to a bridge over the growing torrent, and found a road that went down into the land. Lights went out in the house and hamlet as they came, and doors were shut. And folk that were afield cried in terror and ran wild like hunted deer. Hamlet as they came. Huh? But how were there small villages there? How were there people living there? Okay, I'll read, for crying out loud. Everyone's just like, John, shut up and read. Okay, so they're in Gondor now. Okay. I know, because they passed over that mountain. But still, it's still confusing why there are people there. I'm still confused. So without looking back, they rode into the mountain fields until they came to a bridge over the growing torrent and found a road that went down into the land. Lights went out in house and hamlet as they came, and doors were shut, and folk that were afield cried in terror and ran wild like hunted deer. Ever there rose the same cry in the gathering night, "The king of the dead is come upon us." Oh, dang. So they think the Grey Company and Aragorn are the kings of the dead. Bells were ringing far below. Okay, so it's far below. Interesting. And all men fled before the face of Aragorn. But the Grey Company in their haste rode like hunters until their horses were stumbling with weariness. And thus, just ere midnight, in a darkness as black as the caverns in the mountain, they came at last to the hill of Erech. Long had the terror of the dead lain upon that hill and upon the empty fields about it. For upon the top stood a black stone, round as a great globe, the height of a man, though its half was buried in the ground. Unearthly it looked, as though it had fallen from the sky, as some had believed. But those who remembered still the lore of Westerness told that it had been brought out of the ruin of Numenor and there set by a seal door at its landing. None of the people of the valley dared to approach it, nor would they dwell near, for they said that it was a trysting place of shadow men, and there they would gather in times of fear, thronging round the stone and whispering. So, this is the first place that Isildur landed when he came to Middle-earth? Or when he came at least west or east? Huh. That's cool. Probably wouldn't be the path that I would take, but that's still pretty cool. Oh, he just put a stone there? Okay. Sort of, but yes. Okay, I'll read that later. To that stone the company came and halted in the dead of the night. Then Elrohir gave to Aragorn a silver horn, and he blew upon it. And it seemed to those that stood near that they heard the sound of answering horns, as if it was an echo in deep caves far away. No other sound they heard, and that they were aware of a great host gathered about the hill on which they stood. And a chill wind, like the breath of a ghost, came down from the mountains. But Aragorn dismounted and standing by the stone, he cried in a great voice. Honestly, yeah, Philip, thanks for the $2. Stonehenge of Gondor. It feels like that. Oathbreakers, why have ye come? And a voice was heard out of the night that answered him, as if far away. To fulfill our oath and have peace. Then Aragorn said, "The hour has come at last. Now I go to Peligir upon Anduin, and ye shall come after me. And when all this land is clean of the servants of Sauron, I will hold the oath fulfilled, and ye shall have peace and depart forever. For I am Elisar, Isildur's heir of Gondor." Anybody else getting the chills? This is actually crazy. And with that he bade Halbrand unfurl the great standard which he had brought, and beheld it was black, and if there was any device upon it, it was hidden in the darkness. Then there was silence, and not a whisper nor a sigh was heard again all the long night. The company camped beside the stone? But they slept little because of the dread of the shadow that hedged them around. Huh? For I am Elisar. And with that he bade Halbarad unfurl the great standard which he had brought. And behold, it was black, and if there was any device upon it, it was hidden in the darkness. Then there was silence, and not a whisper nor a sigh was heard again all the long night. The company camped beside the stone, but they slept little because of the dread of the shadow that hedged them round. But when the dawn came, cold and pale, Aragorn rose at once and led the company forth upon the journey of greatest haste and weariness that any among them had known, save he alone. And only his will held them to go on. No other mortal men could have endured it. None but the Dunedain of the north, and with them Gimli the dwarf and Legolas of the elves. That's so cool. That is actually so cool. So I need that soldiers need. Okay. So my confusion there was not that the soldiers need to rest, but that they have a conversation. Oathbreakers, why have you come to fulfill our oath? And Aragorn's like, okay, and like, you know, I am Elisar, Isildur's heir. And then there's no response back. It's almost like the army of the dead is going to confer and try to figure out things themselves and like talk amongst themselves to see if they want this to happen. And then they just go to sleep. It just kind of seems to come out of nowhere. So did there was no like, wait, did I miss something? So I guess he just calls them and they're ready to go. Oh, okay. So they just received their orders and they're just like getting ready. They're just ready to follow him. That's crazy. That's kind of cool. So it's an oath and they're just fulfilling their oath. That's very different from movie. But I kind of like this. Like they're silent and they just know what they need to do. I kind of love the Green King, guys. I'm just going to be honest. The movie is so different from every point. But the movie part at this section is actually great. Because when Aragorn comes out of the stumbling thing and he's like devastated that they're not going to follow him, and all of a sudden the green guy comes behind and he's like, "We fight." The whole section was a bit odd with the avalanche of the skulls and everything like that. I will go with you on that. But some of this part in the movie was good. This is great in the book too. Let me read the last paragraph and then we can discuss. They passed Tarlang's neck and came into Lamedon. And the shadow host pressed behind. Okay, here we go. And fear went on before them until they came to Calimbel upon Kirith. And the sun went down like blood behind Peneth Gallon, away in the west behind them. The township and the fords of Kyril they found deserted, for many men had gone away to war, and all that were left fled to the hills at the rumor of the coming of the king of the dead. But the next day there came no dawn, and the great company passed on into the darkness of the storm of Mordor, and were lost to mortal sight. But the dead followed them. Dude, oh, that's such a cool way to end the chapter. But the dead followed them. That is crazy. He's got an army of zombies right now. This is crazy. Yeah, no dawn again at the end of this chapter. It's just like diminishing your hopes. Huh. I know they're invisible, but it still just feels like zombies. Oh man, this is crazy. So, there's no like visual for this. It's just the army of the dead. They just feel like they're like weaker Nazgul. Interesting. An army of wraiths. He was actually going to cut this because it was too complicated. I will say there is complication here. He should not have cut this at all. He should have put this more like the book. He should have had 30 men from Numenor freaking come and fight. That would have been incredible. Oh, or 30 men from 30 rangers from the north. I mean, the Dunedain. But still so interesting. Their chief weapon is fear and surprise, like the Spanish Inquisition. Fear and surprise. Huh. This is kind of crazy. Oakleaf, what did you say? Oh, no dawn tells us we caught up to Pippin. That's cool. So simultaneous now. Okay, I love that. Remade swords and Aragorn not wanting to be the king and the early changes. Yeah, all those changes just compounded upon each other. He should not have cut the steward and the king. Oh, interesting. So that's actually crazy. Can the Dunedain see this army? Aragorn can't see this army? Can he see this army? Wait. Hold on. Time out. I need that. Process that one. So Legolas isn't the only one that can see this army, though, right? If they're wraiths, then can everyone see them? So right now, Legolas is the only one that can see the army? He's going off vibes. He's just going off the aura up here. And the twins, too. That's actually crazy. They can feel it, but they can't see it. Let's be honest. That's a lot scarier than a green army. I know that you can't do that, and I don't know how you would be able to do this in film. So I will grant Peter Jackson the best of his ability here. Because I don't know how you would depict this in a film if you can't see them. It's a visual. I don't know how would you depict an aura of fear? Gimli describes it later. Interesting. I'm curious when we're going to get to that. They're gray. Yeah. Yeah, you can't really do an invisible army in a film. But I think that's kind of cool. It is terrifying that they're followed by an invisible army right now. Hold on. They're not wraiths, though. They're not fully wraiths. They can't fully be wraiths, right? Because otherwise, maybe I'm just mistaking wraiths. Are there just different kinds of wraith? Because they're not wraiths. Oh, I'm thinking of whites. Hold on, I'm thinking of whites. So anybody can see whites. Like I was going to say Frodo and the Hobbit saw whites. The ring wraiths exist in the unseen realm too. They're the undead. Okay. So the ring wraiths are essentially like if the ring wraiths took off their cloaks, would they just be invisible? Different reason they exist. Interesting. So maybe they're going to cloak all these people in gray cloaks. Nazgul are invisible. You know, I like understood that, but it didn't hit me till now that they're actually invisible. They're not in the same realm as wraiths. They can be seen. Honestly, like smoke. Like I was thinking a little bit of like, you know, the show Lost. It's like the smoke in the Lost show, which is kind of terrifying. Dang. I have to say, I'm not like crazy confused anymore because I have you guys and you guys are helping me. And that last paragraph, you know, I just keep needing to read to fix any of my confusion because that last paragraph did clear it up. But it is a bit trickier to understand that section. Like I not that I thought there was gonna be like this grand battle between the two of them, but it was like Aragorn's like, I'm here, and they're like, okay, let's fulfill our oath, and Aragorn says like, okay, we ride at dawn, and it was short and sweet. That's true. That's actually a great point. They worship Sauron. I'm not really, you know, you're kind of their fan. I'm like their fan, but at the same time, I'm not. I don't really like them. I like them, but I don't. That's actually such an interesting point. I cannot believe that they actually worship Sauron. They're so interesting. So they are wraith-like, like the ring wraiths. They're the not the good version of Nazgul, but like they're on the good side of Nazgul. They're just fulfilling their oaths. They're out there for duty. Like a mercenary group right now. Ooh, wait. You're in the camp that they can't hurt you physically, so I'm curious what's going to happen. Actually, don't talk about that anymore, because I don't want any like spoilers on what's going to happen if they actually like can fight or not. It seems like the Witch King can fight, so I feel like they could. But their main weapons are fear. Fear and terror. Yeah, don't tell me anything. I want to switch up the conversation for a little bit before we end the stream. On the whole, what do you guys think of Eowyn? They only worshipped Sauron long years before it was their ancestors. Yeah, poltergeists. So are they kind of like poltergeists? I know. I want to read the next chapter too, but we can't. We gotta hold. I got 7 essays to write right now, or maybe even more. Sheesh. The Muster of Rohan. Man. The Witch King isn't dead. So the Witch King is both alive and dead at the same time. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not going to make any hasty judgments on her yet. But we were talking about her and... Oh, my dog is just chilling on my bed right now. Just sprawled out. You're talking about her and feminism, and I didn't want to read any of the chat because we just kept on going because this was an end of the discussion thing. Ooh, and something in Discord for a missing sentence. Hold on. Coming to it. I did miss a sentence. Someone starting but Eowyn. Hold on. I gotta switch this image. Or I gotta just read sideways. But Eowyn stood still as a figure carven in stone. I thought I hit that sentence. I remember that sentence. Cleansed her sight, and she watched them until they passed into... Yeah, I definitely read that sentence. I remember that. Yeah, she's just like standing stiff as a board with her hands clenched. Like she's devastated. Oh, your stream froze during that sentence? Bummer. So thoughts on if Eowyn is a feminist icon, it's first wave feminism, but Eowyn is more than that. She loves the idea of Aragorn, a warrior that wins valor, and wants to restore the honor of her house too. Interesting. Interesting. Give me... What are the waves of feminism? There's 3 waves of feminism? Because she's like... Eowyn is just an interesting character right now. Like, I want her to get what she wants, but I also want her to do her duty. Feminism doesn't exist in Middle-earth. Eowyn's sorrow and frustration of not being able to break the expectations of the society she's lived in is very evocative. Yeah. I think she's like... I think that she is... To me, she's a... I really love her and respect her as a character because... Not that every character just has to be relatable for you to like and enjoy them, but I understand the things that she's going through. Like, she's young. She's like 24, 23, you guys said. And she just kind of wants to live the life of Boromir. I'm going to keep making that comparison. And she can't because she has to do her duty. So she has to mature up a little bit and like learn how to do her duty. She would be a great ruler. People respect her and love her. And I think she needs to realize that she's been given a great honor for that. But at the same point, that's not necessarily what she wants to do. So it's tough because in her head, she's still conflicted. Or how other people say, conflicted. Interesting that his character is often mistaken for feminism. That's interesting. I want to read some essays on that. She's still a great character. I really love her. So many good characters in this story. Freaking Halbarad. So cool. That was such a shock to me. Oh my gosh. The skeleton at the door has his legs broken, was done by the dead men to trap him so he lay there and starve. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's brutal. Yeah, no one tell any spoilers in any of this chat. If I'm going to learn about this later, you can give me like small little details here. Like that little detail is fun. But don't give me much more. Man. So, man. Hold on. I got to look at a map again. 1 second. I'm going to look at a map and then I've got to run. I've got to go. Map of Middle-earth. Okay. Oh, let's just look on this in Discord again. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Join me. So, they come here. Are the towns? Oh, yeah. Callum and everything. So they're coming. So they summon the dead army over here. And when they're on their way over here, that's when the towns are fleeing. But they're fleeing before he summons the army. You know what I mean? Weren't there people living in Gondor over here? Like little villages over here? The road that leads to Pelagir. Yeah, I'll just read and find out. He didn't summon them, but they were following him to the stone. Okay, that's interesting. That makes more sense. That's creepy. Yeah, that's right. That they were actually like just chilling behind him. They kept feeling like the army was behind them, so they couldn't go back. So they just had to keep going this way. Imagine living in that area and just having to feel like there's a bunch of people that were just like, there's a dead army that's just chilling there. We just got to sit and work like normal people as this dead army is just chilling there. A little terrifying. Aquila, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining in this. This is fun. I'm gonna slowly end the stream too. Guys, thanks as always for joining. We got lots of essays coming about this chapter. This is always tough because there's more. I feel like there's so much in every single chapter that it's hard to only write like a week's worth of essays, because I think I want to write like 3 weeks worth for every single thing that comes up. So I'll probably have another week's worth of essays for this chapter, at least. I know, almost a 4-hour stream. That is actually wild. The next chapters are cinema. Good. Yeah, someone was saying that Tolkien died 52 years ago yesterday. I should have done something on the channel to honor that brilliant man. Oh, thank you, Dylan. Thanks for the $2. Appreciate you. Their third super on a stream, dude. Appreciate you. Thank you. This chapter is tightly bound with 1 and 3. Okay, interesting. So we won't do the podcast probably until we do the first 3, even though it's long. If they're good and they're bound together, then that'll be like a good chunk. Yeah, this is so enjoyable so far. This is so fun. Book 5 is phenomenal. Book 5 is such a good book. So far. I'm only 2 chapters in, and it's incredible. The next chapter is called The Muster of Rohan, I think. The Muster of the Rohirrim. The Muster of Rohan. Book 5 is huge. These are so good. The Mustard of Rohan. They're really good with their condiments. I'm pumped to get more of this and see more of these chapters and more of these moments. They're so good. There's the ketchup of the mayo of Rohan, the ketchup of Rohan, the Chick-fil-A sauce of Rohan. Oh, Chick-fil-A sauce stuff is so good. The Chipotle mayo of Rohan. Now I'm really hungry. Everyone, name your favorite sauce before we all go. What's your favorite sauce? That's how we'll end the stream. Everyone tell me your favorite sauce, and then you can go. The mayonnaise of Gondor. Chick-fil-A sauce is so good. The passing of the Grey Poupon. Tabasco. Applesauce is underrated. Sriracha, mayo. Q pie. I've never eaten Q pie mayo. I've never even heard of that. That pun is spread thin. Well done. Alfredo, so good. Teriyaki. Chocolate. Sauce piquant. I don't even know what that is. Sounds very French. Garlic mayo is good. Garlic mayo is underrated. Zax sauce from Zaxby's is great. I didn't really ever have Zax sauce until I went to Zaxby's when I was like 24, 25. And it revolutionized my life. Chocolate can be a sauce. Anything that can be, yeah, chocolate can definitely be a sauce. A little chocolate sauce. Lemon juice. Sauce piquant is New Orleans. Interesting. Hollandaise. Hollandaise is good. Barbecue sauce of Rivendell. Ooh, egg yolks is steak sauce. Now I'm really hungry. All right, everyone, go and eat now. Everyone go and eat. Gravy. Gravy's good. Gravy's delicious. That's what the Italians call their sauce. Gravy. Hot fudge. Yeah, if it's lunchtime, if it's dinner time, if it's breakfast, wherever you're at, let's go eat a meal. Let's go be like hobbits and go eat a meal. Another thing that I was going to say before I end, someone requested, I forgot which chapter it was. I got to try to find this. Because they said there was a creepy chapter coming up. Let me try to find this. I think it's in book 6. Someone sent me a DM. Okay, book 6, chapter 1. Someone recommended that I do a midnight candlelit reading of book 6, chapter 1, because it's a really creepy chapter. So that's what I'm going to do. But if there's any like other cool chapters like that you want me to do like a themed reading of, I might do it. I have my flag of Gondor over there. I'll probably display that for some of these upcoming chapters. It'll be in the background, flying proud. So I broke my fast with oatmeal today. Steward and King, done and done. I should get some swords. I have I shown you guys this on stream? Hold on. Last thing before we go. Here it is. This is the sword. It's legitimately sharp. This is the guy. This is Anduril. I want to get Narsil, and I want to hold it like Boromir. The sword that... What does he say in the movie? The sword that cut the hand, or something like that. Swords are so cool. Imagine this but glowing red. Ooh, okay. I got it on Etsy, I think. Cool spoon. So good. The sword that cut the ring from Sauron's hand. All right, everyone. I'm going to go. I got to run. It was great having you guys. Elendil. What a way to end. Everyone, I will see you guys in the next one. I'll see you. I got a video coming out tomorrow. This video tomorrow is about the, I gotta still make it, but it's going to be about the last few words of the last chapter. So I'll go eat my oatmeal with Anduril. I do. I keep it on my back. I actually carry this everywhere I go on my back. So if you see me in public walking around, New York City, I'm going to have a sword in my back. I'll probably immediately get arrested and put into an institution. All right, guys. Everyone say goodbye. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for joining. Love you guys as always, and have a good one.